Chapter 476. At night, the mission officer was not around, so Lu Chen could only go back to the dormitory to rest. When he returned to the dormitory, Lu Chen found that he was the only one in the room. The others might have gone on missions. Speaking of which, were those guys at the level of militia captain or above? Lu Chen thought about it. This was not surprising. Normally, what qualifications did a militia have to be wanted? Those who could run to the city of exiles were more or less capable. Lu Chen was now a militia and could only exchange for resources once a week. There were still more than 8 hours before the exchange time, so he rested for the time being. Early the next morning, Lu Chen got up to hand in the mission and happened to see a large group of people entering the city. These people were all wearing exile masks, so it was impossible to tell who was who. They did not seem to be in good condition. Their HP was almost at a critical state, and their bodies were also damaged. The battle last night had lasted until now, which showed how tragic it was. There were many onlookers around, and at this time, many people were discussing. So many people came back from fighting the undead? It's not easy. Well, the undead are usually killed. After they are caught, they are directly tortured to death and sent back to the first level to be reincarnated. I heard that the undead army was ambushed by another army yesterday. When we went there, it was a mess. Really? Then they really made a big profit. Lu Chen frowned slightly. It seemed that they were talking about him. How did it become an army after spreading it around? Lu Chen did not care so much and walked towards the mission officer. The same few people were sitting there chatting leisurely, but when they saw Lu Chen, they were stunned. Lu Chen was missing an arm, so it was easy to recognize him even if he was wearing a mask. You are still alive? No way, the other two are dead. How can a cripple like you survive? Lu Chen sneered, I am also very surprised, but I survived. The few people were speechless by Lu Chen's words. One of them immediately thought of something. Don't be so smug. Did you happen to encounter the troops of other races attacking the undead camp? I'm warning you, if you don't contribute anything, don't even think about completing the mission. Lu Chen smiled faintly, my mission has been completed. With that said, Lu Chen pushed the Suicide Squad mission in front of them. It showed a completed status. The mission officers were once again at a loss for words as they stared at the one-armed man in shock. This guy had really completed his mission. You're just a militia. How could you possibly complete such a mission? You took advantage of the chaos to complete the mission, didn't you? You sneaked in to complete the mission while they were ambushed. That must be it. Otherwise, how could a crippled militia like you do it? These guys came up with some seemingly reasonable explanations in their minds. Otherwise, all of this would overturn their understanding of the world. Lu Chen was too lazy to talk nonsense with these small fries. He didn't know where these officers and soldiers of the city of exiles got their sense of superiority from, but they looked down on him from the bottom of their hearts. Perhaps to be more precise, it wasn't that the officers and soldiers looked down on him, but that the chain of discrimination between military ranks was at work. They were all regular troops stationed in Mo City. Back then, Lu Chen had clearly felt that the treatment of regular troops and militia was several grades lower. Lu Chen couldn't help but sneer. Humans had almost been wiped out, but they still cared about these false titles. It was a miracle that such humans could survive until now. Military rank? Was it really that important? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. At this moment, Lu Chen suddenly felt a sense of boredom. He was tired of military ranks. Do I really want to be promoted? Then stand at the top of the false titles and look down on everyone? It seemed a little boring. Faced with the questioning of the mission officers, Lu Chen was too lazy to answer. He said coldly, how I completed the mission has nothing to do with you. Your duty is to give our army merit points. Although these people were unwilling and jealous, they still had to give their military merit points. One of them stared at Lu Chen and pushed a wooden token to Lu Chen. What's the use of military merit points for someone who's about to die? Military merit token, medium, after use, 10 military merit points will be awarded. Lu Chen used the token directly. His military merit points had increased to 283. On the military rank interface, he could now participate in the military rank test. However, in view of the feelings he had just felt, Lucien didn't want to be promoted. As long as he could exchange for medicinal herbs, it didn't matter what military rank he had. As for the mission, it was pretty good to do this kind of easy suicide mission. Before he left, Lucien seemed to have thought of something. He turned around and looked at the mission officers. "Hey, do you guys still have a mission here? Like the kind I do?" The 3 mission officers were petrified. The reason why they were so free here was because they specialized in releasing suicide missions. This guy had luckily completed it in one go, but he was still not satisfied. He wanted more. "Are you crazy? You guys are too dramatic. Just answer my question," Lucien said coldly. "Fine, you want to die, right? Don't worry, we'll inform you as soon as we have a mission here." It seemed that there were no similar missions now. Lucien turned around and left. Lucien's quartermaster was already open. He found a quiet little pavilion and began to exchange the medicinal ingredients written down by Lu. Dragon tendon grass, 1 military merit point for 2 portions. Little Green wants 10 portions. Damn, that's 5 military merit points. Phoenix tail flame lotus, 2 military merit points for 1 stalk? Damn, that's so expensive. Damn, I want 3 portions. My heart hurts. It seemed that almost 300 military merit points weren't enough for him to exchange. Lucien followed the order of the prescription. He first collected all the medicinal ingredients for a certain pill and then exchanged them. After handing the medicinal ingredients to Lucien thought of Little Furball. He hadn't seen this fellow's status in a long time. He didn't even know that it had gained a new skill. It has a new skill, Bloodline Bond. It can share its health recovery with its teammates. Moreover, its attributes are twice as high as before. This fellow improved so quickly. Lucien immediately felt the terror of Little Furball. Thinking back, he let Little Furball and the others kill monsters alone in the heart-tempering courtyard. Could it have grown at that time? When he checked the beast pen, Lucien found that Little Furball was still sleeping. This fellow seems to like sleeping a lot recently. Lucien shook his head. He picked up Little Furball and gently stroked it. When he stroked it, Lucien felt that Little Furball's fur wasn't as smooth as before. Why is there a scratch here? Lucien carefully pried open the hair on the back of the Little Furball and found 2 scabs inside. Is it injured? Lucien hurriedly checked Little Furball's status. At this time, Little Furball's status panel had a new status. Transformation, sleepy, in urgent need of large amounts of food. Lucien's eyes widened and his face was full of astonishment. The Little Furball was going to transform. Chapter 477. Little Furball was about to transform. It needed food. Currently, it only needed 2 kinds of food, pills and other creatures. Lucien didn't even have enough pills for himself. Eliminating this option, there was only one other option left. No, I don't know when there will be missions over there. Lucien was a little anxious. The description mentioned a lots of food. With Little Furball's appetite, he didn't know how much a lot was. There seems to be a free mission area in the mission distribution area. Let's go take a look. Lucien hurriedly got up and rushed to the free mission area. Strictly speaking, the so-called free mission couldn't be considered a mission. Some people who were eager to earn military merits faster could accept recurring missions here. The mission requirements were high, but the rewards were low. For example, killing 100 militia-level enemies would only reward 5 military merits. Although the rewards were low, killing militia-level enemies would give military merits. These missions were a kind of benefit that rewarded more military merits. It was important to note that these missions didn't stack with other missions. Targets killed in other missions weren't counted in the recurring missions. Lucien only glanced at the missions and accepted all 5 recurring missions in one go. 100 militia-level enemies, 50 squadron-level enemies, 30 squadron-level enemies, 20 brigade-level enemies, and 10 corporal-level enemies. The additional reward was 5 military merits. After accepting the missions, Lucien needed to be teleported from a special teleportation point. He would be randomly teleported to a war zone in the 10,000 tribe battlefield and automatically join an unknown battle. Okay, Little Furball, Wake up and get ready to eat. Lu-Chen woke little Furball up and followed 30 to 40 people into the teleportation point. The familiar feeling of dizziness was fleeting. When he opened his eyes again, Lu-Chen was already in a military camp. There were dozens of similar teleportation portals around, and humans were teleported in from time to time. The people who came were all human soldiers in armor. They were a little confused when they were teleported out. Many people were familiarizing themselves with the environment. There were also a large number of people who had already figured out the situation and were constantly rushing to the front of the battlefield. Quick, quick, quick! Kill them for me! We don't have much of a base left. We can't lose this place. A person with a military rank shouted. Newcomers, don't just stand there. Since you've chosen to join the battle, don't just stand there. Charge! That person pushed a few newcomers and happened to walk in front of Lu-Chen. He glanced at Lu-Chen and said, "You're from the city of exiles? How could you be a cripple? Brat, I don't care where you're from, I don't care what you've done in the past. Now is the time for you to atone for your sins." Lu-Chen glanced at the man. Without further explanation, he walked towards the battlefield. After leaving the barracks, Lu-Chen saw the battle in front of him. There were people everywhere, and they were from all races. A leopard-faced man pounced on a human male. Midway, his body suddenly expanded several times and pushed the human to the ground. In the distance, a black-robed wizard with a white skull could vaguely be seen. He was a necromancer. He shot a light beam of wisdom at an orc grandmaster of combat. In the distance, a huge lion roared and fought with a western fire dragon. It looked like a contest between two beast tamers. In the sky, there were flying puppets madly shooting hidden weapons. However, their abdomens were directly pierced by a sword aura, revealing a pile of parts. Archers, beast tamers, and archers suddenly shot arrows from somewhere and pierced through someone's armor. Grenades fell from the sky. On the hillside, a dwarf musketeer held a cigar in his mouth and aimed at someone's head, preparing to blow it off. The talisman formation masters made the most noise. Dao talismans flew everywhere, and the array was magnificent. This was a chaotic battle between hundreds of thousands of super experts. Their goal was to annihilate as many other races as possible. Here, there were 9 major professions and dozens of branches. All the major races used all their skills and threw themselves into this endless battle. Even Lu-Chen was shocked when he saw such a scene for the first time. He had seen battles between tens of thousands of people and even world wars with hundreds of millions of people. However, the players at that time were too weak and could not fully utilize the advantages of their professions. However, it was different at level 3. Even if they were just militia, they had the ability to defeat a level 2 domain boss. After going through the baptism of 2 domains, those who could reach here were not really weak. Moreover, those who dared to come here were all very confident in themselves. Everyone was here to kill, and no one was here to be killed. After a short moment of shock, Lu-Chen could not help but smile. Very good, this was the place he was looking for. After leaving the human base, there were already many people from other races coming over. 3 strange-looking creatures that were neither human nor ghost had already charged over. Here comes a cripple. Ha, I can kill another one. According to the translation software, the other party's language was Cthulhu race. It was unknown what kind of creature they were. The target they chose was the only human in this group who had one arm burned. Ugly thing, go to hell. Lu-Chen was speechless. In their eyes, he was actually an ugly thing. Bro, do you think that your wart-shaped face is very handsome? He really could not understand the thoughts of aliens. Lu-Chen did not want to talk nonsense with them and directly threw a furry little mouse at them. Little furball, let's eat. I hope you don't mind. The 3 Cthulhu players were also shocked by Lu-Chen's strange move. Why did he throw a little mouse at this time? He really could not understand the thoughts of aliens. However, in the process of flying, the little furball's body directly enlarged. When the boss said, "Let's eat," the little furball was completely awake. Yes, it was very hungry, very hungry. Damn, this thing suddenly became so big. It's a battle pet. Don't be afraid. It shouldn't be a powerful battle pet. Lu-Chen shook his head. He met this kind of people again. The last person who looked down on the little furball seemed to be the ice bone dragon. He wondered if it was still alive. The little furball roared and directly rushed toward the three people, biting one of their arms in an instant. Minus 740,000. Debuff. Physical damage, 1 stack. Physical attributes reduced by 7%, mobility reduced by 7%. Debuff. Physical vulnerability, 1 stack. When receiving physical attacks, receive an additional 7% damage. Debuff. Serious injury and bleeding, 1 stack. Lose 1% of maximum health every second, lasts for 7 seconds. With another bite, all the debuffs were stacked again. Other battle pets would just take a bite, but the little furball was different. It stared at being bitten. To be precise, it was gnawing on the opponent's flesh. Coupled with its horrifying damage and undefeatable debuffs, anyone who had seen the little furball in battle would be shocked by this guy's crazy attack style. That was a fear that was above the game. With 2 bites, the little furball tore off one of the monster's tentacles and roared into the sky. The heaven and earth shook. Even the battle pets who were fighting fiercely could not help but look over. It was as if a horrifying creature was slowly awakening. Chapter 478. Originator, Taotai, Chaos. Let's go together. Lu Chen summoned the 4 battle pets at once. After all, they wouldn't be in any danger after the bloodline bond was established. 9-winged, Lu Chen called out, and a 9-winged heavenly dragon roared out. As soon as the 9-winged dragon appeared, many people were forced to land on their mounts. Lu Chen jumped on the 9-winged dragon and looked down at the battlefield. The warriors in the distance couldn't help but look at the man on the dragon's head. Broken arm, masked face, standing on the dragon's head and looking down at the people. It's a human being. The guy, what's his rank? A titled marshal? Why would a titled marshal be here? He hasn't taken any action yet. I can't tell how strong he is, but he doesn't seem to be easy to deal with. Damn it, how can there be such a horrifying guy? His 4 pets are too horrifying, especially those 2 rats. One of them is immune to all attacks, and the other, oh my god, what kind of attack is that? It's eating people. Those who were licking the blood on their blades were also frightened by the bloody way the furball attacked. Under the lead of the little furball, the 4 battle pets charged into the enemy's formation and started a crazy massacre. The furball's recovery rate had exceeded the upper limit, and the originator was absorbing more and more spiritual energy. Taotai and Chaos were cooperating with each other. One of them was responsible for group attacks, and the other was responsible for burning mana. The 4 pets had formed a relatively complete team. Tank, healer, AoE, DPS, and support. The division of labor wasn't clear, but there were people in every position. The AoE attack is not good enough. The remote position is vacant. Lu Chen analyzed and decided to add another member to the team. Azure Dragon, Black Flame Dragon Emperor, it's you too. I didn't want to let you out so early, but you're already young. You can get used to it. An Azure Dragon and a Black Dragon roared out from Lu Chen's left hand at the same time. Their figures were not comparable to the 9-winged celestial dragons, but they were still youths after all. Lu Chen did not want to let them participate in the battle so early, but he saw that Furball and the others were fighting well. They were only lacking in long-range and area of effect attacks, so he let these 2 little fellows move around. Little Green and Little Black had also been sullen for too long. These 2 fellows were definitely the most combative too. Now that they had the chance to fight, they were already itching to give it a try. Chaos Taotai? What kind of joke was this? Who did they think they were? They were always in the limelight with their master. They weren't even considered ultimate vicious beasts or divine beasts, and these 2 were the true kings of divine beasts. It wasn't easy for him to come out, so he naturally had to perform well. Roar! The 2 dragons roared furiously, as if venting the dissatisfaction in their hearts. Flames and black flames spewed from their mouths, burning the battlefield mercilessly. Lu Chen didn't know whether to be angry or amused at the same time. Were these little guys all rebellious now that they were in their youth? Her temper was so bad. Hey, you 2, don't fight randomly, cooperate. You guys follow Little Furball and the rest. They didn't have to listen to others. but they still had to listen to their boss. If their boss was unhappy and locked them back, that would be terrible. The two dragons obediently caught up with Little Furball and the rest. They followed behind and set fire, cooperating with the small team in battle. Luchin nodded in satisfaction. As expected of divine beasts, their ability to understand was still quite good. Military merit +1, kill the militia mission completion progress. 13/100, military merit +3, kill the militia mission completion progress. 16/100, military merit +3, kill the militia captain mission completion progress. 2/50, military merit +3, kill the militia captain mission completion progress. 4/50. Standing on the head of the 9-winged skydragon, Lu Chen's missions kept refreshing. The militia mission had the highest requirements and refreshed the fastest, followed by the militia captain mission. With the 6 war pets attacking together, even the captain-level people would find it difficult to resist. Many of the militia directly became cannon fodder. Most importantly, Little Furball was eating like crazy. More than 10 minutes later, the militia mission had been completed. This mission could be submitted on the spot. After submitting it, one only needed to choose to continue accepting it to refresh. This made things much more convenient for Luchin. You have submitted the militia mission. You have received 5 military merit points. Would you like to accept the new mission? Yes, Luchin said without hesitation. Little guys, refresh the mission. The moment Luchin appeared, he became the focus of the battlefield. Riding the 9-winged skydragon, he not only suppressed all the mounts present, but he also didn't even need to do anything. He only relied on his 6 war pets to slaughter a large number of players in less than 20 minutes. The war pets under him were all divine beasts at the very least. 2 ordinary divine beasts, 2 ultimate divine beasts, and 2 large rats of unknown origin. Especially those 2 large rats. One was immune to physical and spiritual attacks and only 8 elemental attacks. That fellow also absorbed spiritual attacks, and its spiritual attacks were now very terrifying. The other had high HP and high defense, and its attacks were insane. At the same time, it also provided the entire Divine Beast squad with HP regeneration. He had ranged attackers, melee attackers, AoE attackers, and DPS attackers. Damn it! Where did that guy get all his war pets? He actually put together a Divine Beast squad that can both attack and defend? That's outrageous. Raising 4 Divine Beasts? How can that guy afford it? He got both the Azure Dragon and the Black Flame Dragon Emperor? This is the first time I've seen someone with 2 Divine Dragons. Divine Beasts aren't the most powerful in his place. I don't know where those 2 large rats came from. They're too strong. That guy's mask seems to be from the City of Exiles. Is he from the City of Exiles? This place was called the Battlefield of 10,000 Races. It wasn't a real battlefield of 10,000 races, but there was an advantage to this place. Lu Qin had killed many people, but because there were too many races there, they couldn't form a unified force to fight against him. Even a single race, such as the human race, would almost always act alone, not to mention so many races. No one would join forces to deal with him. The 6 war pets were enough. You have submitted a militia mission. You have received 5 military merit points. Would you like to accept a new mission? You have submitted a militia captain mission. You have received 5 military merit points. Would you like to accept a new mission? Don't ask. Just keep doing it. Lu Qin had lost count of how many times he had submitted a new mission. His military merit points were increasing rapidly. An hour later, Lu Qin noticed that his war pets seemed to be tired. Also, the war pets had learned their lesson and ran away as soon as they saw his Divine Beast squad. As a result, he was much slower in completing missions. What? Is Furball taking a nap? Furball was the absolute core of the Divine Beast squad. It was fine that the war pet squad was leeching off others, but the war pet squad and the originator couldn't be leeched off. I have more than 1,300 military merit points. Furball has eaten a lot. Well, that's enough. Come back. Lu Qin told the 9-wing to land and then put the 9-wing away. He waited for Furball and the war pet squad to finish off the undead skeletons that had just joined the battlefield. Then he called back the 6 war pets. All of a sudden, the battle on the battlefield came to a weird stop. In the distance, someone stared at the one-armed man nervously. They were finally relieved when he returned to the human camp. That lunatic is finally gone. Damn it. Don't let me run into him again. Chapter 479. After returning to the city of exiles, Lu Chen exchanged for the herbs and gave them to Louis. Then he waited until nightfall to take the first batch of pills. Boss, do you feel better? Louis looked at Lu Chen nervously. Yes, the deterioration of the injury seems to have slowed down a lot. That's great. Boss, the herbs you gave me are enough to refine for 3 days, but it will take some time. I will refine some more solid pills tomorrow. Lu Chen smiled. Don't worry. I don't have to do anything now. You should rest well. In the evening, Lu Chen returned to the dormitory. Seeing that Lu Chen had returned, the old man in the bed next to his got up and ran to Lu Chen's side. He whispered excitedly, "Hey, kid, you didn't die." He had seen Lu Chen accept the suicide mission with his own eyes. At that time, he had even tried to dissuade Lu Chen from doing so. Lu Chen looked helpless. He had just returned and was already being asked such a question. It was as if he should have died. Well, seeing that the uncle didn't have any bad intentions, Lu Chen didn't want to argue with him. My luck is good. You didn't die either. Congratulations to you. Good luck? Your luck is against the heavens. The old man simply sat beside Lu Chen's bed. However, your luck is really good. Coincidentally, there were other troops that attacked the undead camp. Not bad, not bad. It wasn't easy for you to survive. Kid, don't take things too hard in the future. Those suicide missions are not to be taken casually. Although life is hopeless, it has to go on. The old man acted as if he had been there before and brought over a bowl of chicken soup. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. Brother, rest early. What time is it? Why are you sleeping? You're sick all day. How can you not have any energy? The old man was full of energy. Hey, let me tell you. Something big happened in the city of exiles. Huh? What happened? Lu Chen asked curiously. Someone has completed 13 missions in a row in the trial battlefield, breaking Azura's record. Lu Chen thought about it for a moment. The person who continuously completed quests was most likely himself. But who was Shura, and what the hell was a record? Brother, who is Azura? Shura is the strongest person in the city of exiles. Of course, Azura isn't his real name. It's his nickname in the city of exiles. He's the only marshal we've had recently. I reckon that he will soon be called marshal. When that time comes, he will be able to leave the city of exiles openly. At this point, the old man's eyes were filled with yearning. That guy is the god of the city of exiles. He's our idol. Wasn't it their goal to leave the city of exiles in a dignified manner? However, someone was about to do it. Someone was telling them that the impossible could be achieved. In this hopeless place, perhaps the Azura was their only hope. And then? Let me tell you, Azura once set a record of completing 12 missions in an hour in the trial field. At that time, it was already shocking. But today, when we left the city to fight, someone broke the record. Calculating the time, I reckon that at that time, before you even had time to rush back to the city of exiles, a super newbie appeared. Azura himself has released the news that he will break the record again. My god, completing more than 10 missions in an hour, that's more than 1,000 military merit points. It turned out that someone was dissatisfied with Lu Chen's results, but Lu Chen wasn't interested in it at all. He just wanted to let Furball have a good meal and train the Divine Beast Squad. He didn't want to break anyone's record. Now, everyone is looking for the person who broke Azura's record. I really want to see if he's the second Azura. Lu Chen said, bored. He won't. Why? How do you know? You're not him. Lu Chen shook his head. Yes. The next day, Lu Chen wanted to go to the trial field, but who would have thought that there would be a sea of people there early in the morning? From the surrounding onlookers, Lu Chen learned that Azura was going to challenge the trial field today. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Sure enough, in the land of exiles, there was no other entertainment besides fighting. There were actually so many people watching. There were too many people, so Lu Chen didn't line up. He turned around and went to the mission officer. Seeing the one-armed young man walk over, the three mission officers looked at each other and smiled. "You're here." Lu Chen walked up to the three of them. "Do you have a mission?" "Yes, why wouldn't we?" One of them said sarcastically. "We can't wait for you to die outside." "Of course, we'll do our best to help you find missions." Lu Chen frowned slightly. These people were getting more and more annoying. Fortunately, the three of them were efficient and quickly pushed the mission to Lu Chen. This was a spy mission. A team from the Heavenly Demon Group was heading to a nearby valley. Their purpose was unknown. Lu Chen needed to follow their tracks and spy for information. The mission was originally a 5-man team mission. The reward was 25 military merit points, which was considered very generous for a mission. However, Lu Chen realized that he was the only one who had accepted the mission. At this moment, an old man walked over to Lu Chen. He looked up at Lu Chen and then at the three mission officers. "Didn't you say that there was no mission?" The old man questioned. "How did he get it?" "The mission just came." "Is there a problem?" "There are still people rushing to die." "What a joke. You should thank us for letting your old bones live for a few more days." The old man seemed to be angry but didn't dare to say anything. He could only settle for the next best thing. "Does the mission still need people?" "No." Lu Chen frowned slightly. There were still 4 spots for this mission, but they didn't give anyone else the mission. It was obvious that they wanted Lu Chen to go alone. As for the reason, it was self-evident. They wanted to use their authority to kill him as soon as possible. Lu Chen's eyes flashed with killing intent. If they wanted to kill him, he might have spared their lives if they came to him openly. However, if they used such despicable tricks, Lu Chen had already decided to kill them. "Young man, can you transfer the mission to me?" The old man turned to Lu Chen. "You're still young. Although you've lost an arm, you can exchange it for a limb regeneration pill in the future. If you really think there's no hope, I'll give you all my military merit points. It's useless to keep them anyway." Lu Chen was interrupted by the old man and temporarily suppressed his killing intent. This old man was really rare. He was actually willing to give his military merit points to a stranger? "Hey, old man, if you don't want your military merit points, you can give them to us. I promise you that the next mission will send you to your death first." The mission officer was envious. "You're giving your military merit points to him? Isn't it a waste in the end? You're really old and muddle-headed. Just give it to us." "Give it to you? Are you worthy?" The old man finally had some confidence for once. Lu Chen had a good impression of this generous old man. He said politely, "Old man, you should keep the military merit points for yourself." The old man was slightly surprised. If other people heard that someone was giving away military merit points for free, they would have been impatient. This was the most important resource in the third heaven. But this kid actually rejected it? The old man looked at Lu Chen again. This young man seemed different from the others. After thinking for a while, he pulled Lu Chen to a place where there was no one. "Young man, you're different from the others." Lu Chen blinked. What did he mean? Did the old man see something? Azura could have left this place long ago. Do you know why he hasn't been promoted to a titled marshal? Lu Chen heaved a sigh of relief, but the old man's words piqued his curiosity. Chapter 480. He's looking for this. After the old man finished speaking, he handed Lu Chen an item. Incomplete treasure map, 7/8. Lu Chen furrowed his brows. Elder, what's this? Literally. The old man smiled and sat beside Lu Chen. The old man sighed and said slowly, I've been in the city of exiles for a long time. When I first arrived, I was in high spirits and thought that with my abilities, I could quickly become a titled marshal. Later on, I realized that it was too difficult to leave this place. The enemies outside are not easy to deal with. Resources are scarce here, and the third heaven is not like the previous 2 heavens. Although everyone says that there are opportunities everywhere, humans are too lowly and have no way to go to a wider place. Day after day, year after year, I have already accepted reality. Who doesn't have a family backing them up? My backing is too small, it can't support me to reach that step. Sigh, in the end, I still can't protect my world. Lu Chen glanced at the old man. If he had really stayed here for a few years, it meant that he was very strong. It wasn't easy to survive countless battles. The old man suddenly changed his tone. However, it's not like I didn't gain anything all these years. I got this. The old man looked at the treasure map in Lu Chen's hands. Azura's strength is far beyond ours. He has a powerful backing. The old man looked at Lu Chen. He came to the City of Exiles not because he was wanted, but because of this treasure map. Lu Chen furrowed his brows and listened to the old man continue. As you can see, this treasure map is only 7/8 complete. However, that part is not important. Look at the map below. With these maps in my hands, you can already determine the location. Lu Chen had to admit that the old man had the ability to exploit bugs. Or rather, the old man's luck was even better. The fragments of the treasure map that he had obtained were just enough to piece together the location of the treasure. Lu Chen raised his head. So, the remaining 1/8 is in Azura's hands? The old man nodded. Yes, it's in his hands. I saw him when he came to the City of Exiles. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. The reason why you feel hopeless is not because you can't leave the City of Exiles, but because you are afraid of Shura? The old man took a deep breath and finally nodded. I've endured for so long and my military merit points are almost there. It's just that I can't pass the test. Azura's strength is unfathomable, and he's not someone I can deal with. He's already locked onto the last few people, and I can't escape in the end. Lu Chen asked curiously, since you have a treasure, why don't you look for it yourself? The old man smiled. Go out and look for it yourself? Young man, have you forgotten where it is outside? Outside is the myriad race battlefield. If we are alone, only death awaits us. Young man, I've met countless people. I can see that you're a man of character. Did you want to mess with those mission officers? Lu Chen looked at the old man in surprise. You can tell? The old man smiled. It's normal. I've wanted to kill those 3 for a long time. They're so disgusting. However, young man, don't let your emotions affect your decisions. Since you've come to the City of Exiles, it means that you have nowhere else to go. If you offend the City of Exiles at this time, you'll really be cornered. Shura will find me soon. I don't have many days left to live. Originally, I wanted to find a suicide mission and die outside, but Shura has already bribed the mission officers. The few targets that he has locked onto, none of them will receive the mission. I'll give you this map. I still have more than 40,000 military merit points. I see that your physical body is seriously injured, so use it to exchange for some high-grade pills. But remember, don't attract attention. Otherwise, Azura will very likely find you. The treasure map is a disaster, not a blessing, so I don't dare ask you for anything. But if, and I'm saying if, you have the chance to leave this place and meet people from my planet in the future, please help them. I'm ashamed to face them. Young man, transfer the suicide mission to me. I'm already tired. You still have a chance. There's no need to rush to ruin your path to Jiotian. Lu Chen looked at the treasure map in his hand. The treasure map couldn't be fake. After all, the system had verified it. Old man, I'll take the treasure map. As for the military merit points, you can keep them. As for the mission, I'm afraid I can't give it to you. I need to earn military merit points. Earn military merit points through the suicide mission? Young man, don't tease me. There's no point in keeping my military merit points. Azura won't go easy on me. Lu Chen smiled. If he comes looking for you, tell him that the map is in my hands. What? You want to give the map to Azura directly? Lu Chen shook his head. Give it to him? How is that possible? I just feel that although 7/8 of the map is still acceptable, it's still uncomfortable to look at. This treasure map can't be given to a worthless corner. The one in his hands might contain other important information. However, old man, if it's possible, please wait a few more days. My body isn't very good right now. If I act rashly, I'm afraid I'll need to rest for a long time. It's a bit boring here. The old man's eyes widened. He didn't know whether to believe Lu Chen's words or not. At this moment, someone passed by. The old man stood up vigilantly. The person was just passing by, but the old man seemed very nervous, like a bird startled by the twang of a bough. Lu Chen pressed the old man's arm with his left hand, calming him down. "Old man, don't worry. I'll find something for Azura to do. He won't have time to look for you for at least half a month." Lu Chen stood up. "Old man, thank you for the map. I won't let you die. I'm afraid you'll have to protect the people in your hometown." With that, Lu Chen sent him a friend request. The old man hesitated. "Add me as a friend." I'm afraid it'll attract Azura's attention." Lu Chen smiled. "It doesn't matter. There are too many people paying attention to me. A few more won't matter." The old man thought for a while and accepted the friend request. Because it wasn't set, Lu Chen saw the old man's ID, Cowherd. "Young man, did you hide your ID?" Lu Chen thought for a while. The old man was willing to give him a treasure map and didn't hide his ID. It didn't seem right for him to not show anything. He directly showed the 4 golden IDs that were wanted by the entire level 3 server. Solipsistic? Golden ID? Lu Chen kept the ID. "It's just a special effect. It's not that interesting." The old man almost vomited blood. Although it was just a special effect, everyone in the world had white IDs. He was the only one with a golden ID. This made the nature of the situation completely different. This person was definitely not ordinary. Perhaps his luck had really changed. He had found the right person. "Young man, can I ask you one more question? Who exactly are you wanted by?" Lu Chen's expression couldn't be seen clearly under the mask. He could only hear his somewhat helpless voice. "Sigh, this is really too tragic. I can only tell you, don't tell anyone that you're my friend. Otherwise, you'll be beaten up badly." Chapter 481. Cowherd was quite cautious. The two of them had been together for a long time. It was inevitable that people would become suspicious, which would be detrimental to the little guy. After saying goodbye to Lu Chen in a hurry, Cowherd quickly disappeared into the crowd. Lu Chen watched Cowherd leave. The old man seemed to have stayed in the city of exiles for too long and didn't know about the solipsistic. He was only surprised by Lu Chen's golden ID. That was good. It would save him a lot of trouble. He didn't expect that there would be a treasure map in the land of exiles. It was indeed a place where good and bad people mingled. The land of exiles was not as simple as he had imagined. Lu Chen put away the treasure map and stood up. "I didn't expect that we would meet again. If I don't have time, I'll find something for you to do first." Cheers burst out around the trial battlefield. "Wow, 14 quests. Azura completed 14 quests in an hour. No wonder he's the best expert in the city of exiles. It's too easy for him to set a record. Azura hasn't done any quests for a long time. He rewrote the record as soon as he returned. That's what a strong expert is like. Azura doesn't bother with such quests anymore. Azura isn't someone who can be easily shaken." The crowd moved around a man. Needless to say, the man in the middle was the best expert in the land of exiles. As soon as the Shura left, the trial battlefield suddenly became empty. A stealthy unit quickly accepted the mission and entered the trial battlefield. Lu Chen was already familiar with the battlefield since it was his second time there. He summoned the 9 wings and charged to the center of the battlefield. "Kids, time to get to work." Lu Chen waved his hand, and 6 battle pets descended from the sky. Furball, Originator, Tautai, Chaos, Azure Dragon, and Black Flame Dragon Emperor, the 6 legendary pets lunged at the battlefield with the densest crowd. "Use a little more strength today," Lu Chen instructed and watched the show on 9 Wings' body. After the previous day's practice, the 6 pets had become quite familiar with each other. Driven by hunger, the little furball pounced on a huge elephant and took a bite. The 2 dragons spewed out 2 types of flames and attacked at the same time. The 3 beasts, Xiao Yuan, Taodai, and Hun Dun, followed closely behind and attacked ferociously. The giant elephant seemed to be some kind of divine beast. It had high HP and high defense, but it was no match for 6 fellows whose bloodlines were higher than its own. In an instant, it was showing signs of defeat. Lu Chen frowned slightly. "Hey, I'm here to complete a quest. You should have picked the easier ones to kill." Why did you pick the most difficult battle pet to kill? Lu Chen couldn't do anything about it. Perhaps Little Furball was too hungry and saw that the guy had a lot of meat, so it attacked first. Forget it. It shouldn't be hard to complete a dozen quests anyway. I can't be bothered with them. On the battlefield, the 6 battle pets that had appeared out of nowhere swept across the area as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. The others had to make way for those terrifying battle pets. That guy has so many battle pets. Every single one of them was this powerful? My mount won't fly. What's the meaning of this? Damn it. Did you see that rat? I don't think even the rock golem can survive its attacks. One-armed, riding a 9-winged dragon as his mount and summoning 6 divine beasts. Is that guy the Grim Reaper from yesterday? Damn it. It's really him. That guy wouldn't have survived more than a minute on a real battlefield. There's no way we can set up a defense line here. Let's avoid him first. Lu Chen noticed that Little Furball was actually more cunning than anyone else, despite its ferocious appearance. Once an expert attacked, it would quickly lead the team to change targets without any hesitation. That guy. I think I would have a headache if I were to run into an opponent who would kill randomly if he could win and run away if he couldn't win. That's good. I won't have to worry about him. Time went by quickly. The number above Lu Chen's head was jumping crazily. Quests were completed, submitted, refreshed, and resubmitted. The number of quests was quickly refreshed. He had completed 9 quests in half an hour. 50 minutes later, the 16th quest was completed. Lu Chen immediately called out to his pets. Hey, that's all for today. Come back. It would be difficult to surpass the 16th quest with 2 extra quests, but there was still hope if he worked hard. Therefore, the number was just right. Seeing that Lu Chen had recalled his battle pets, the people on the battlefield heaved a sigh of relief. Oh my god. That perverted beast tamer is finally gone. That was horrifying. The Grim Reaper is finally gone. That guy is so strong. Why did he come to the trial battlefield? Did he want others to live? He's still a human being. I have to report this when I go back. I'm afraid that this guy will become a disaster in the future. Lu Chen was on his way back to the human race's base camp. He only had one arm and his face was pale and sickly. However, most of the alien warriors chose to stay away from him the moment they saw him. Right at this moment, a figure suddenly flashed in front of Lu Chen. Then, a slender woman with long ears stabbed out with both swords in her hands. The translation software indicated that she was a member of the nature elf race. We can't let the tiger go back to the mountain. I'll kill you. Hongmeng tree. Nature's teeth. A large number of vines suddenly sprouted from the ground under Lu Chen's feet and rushed towards Lu Chen. Lu Chen frowned. This female elf was quite bold. She dared to stop him. Judging from her skills, she was indeed quite strong. The moment the Hongmeng tree was born, the woman had gained 3 additional buffs and 1 additional status. Her attributes were increased by 100%, her movement speed was increased by 80%, and her attack speed was increased by 50%. At the same time, within the range of the Hongmeng tree, her body had become one with the Hongmeng tree and she could change her position at any time. There was also a debuff on him. When he moved, there was a 30% chance that he would be entangled. This skill was quite powerful. It was almost equivalent to the effect of several formations stacked together. Interested? But, Beauty, I'm sorry. I'm on my period and I'm not feeling well. Triple gate. Lu Chen said casually. The next second, he was already in front of the human race's base camp. Before the woman could stab her swords, she realized that the person in front of her had disappeared. She turned around, only to see that the man in black was already far away. What a fast reaction. Isn't he a beast tamer? How can a melee fighter react so quickly? Also, what's Hongmeng? A relative? Damn it. I've only reached the first level of the Hongmeng tree. It's still too slow. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to escape. No matter what, if Lu Chen insisted on leaving, there weren't many skills that could stop him. Lu Chen turned around and looked at the female elf. He smiled and sat in the human camp to rest. 10 minutes later, exactly 1 hour later, Lu Chen stepped into the portal. Shura was enjoying the feeling of being surrounded by tens of thousands of people. Although he had other motives for coming to the city of exiles, being called a god by these desperados was still a rather satisfying thing. In his family, he couldn't enjoy the feeling of being surrounded by stars. Who would have thought that he would become everyone's hope in this godforsaken place? Shura couldn't help but laugh at the thought of this word. A bunch of idiots. Don't you know that the greater the hope, the greater the disappointment? After breaking the record and securing his position, it was time to investigate that matter. At this moment, a soldier suddenly rushed in from outside the door. "Young master, someone broke your record." Chapter 482. What? Shura's record hadn't even warmed up in his hands, and his own record was broken again? Someone completed 16 missions in an hour. 16? How is this possible? Shura's eyes widened. His previous record of 14 missions wasn't easy to obtain, but the other party had directly raised his record by 2 times. "Young master, the people outside are saying that you'll break the record again. They're all looking forward to seeing how you deal with the other party's provocation." Shura's head was as big as 2. Why were the people outside making the decision for him? Damn it. After completing 2 more missions, this record wasn't impossible, but he might have to try a few more times. "Did you see who broke the record?" "I didn't notice. We're still investigating." Shura took a deep breath and calmed himself down. "You actually dared to provoke me. Very well, you want to play? I'll play with you. Let's see who can't afford to play in the end. Get ready." Release the news that Shura will enter the trial battlefield again. In front of the trial battlefield, a large crowd gathered once again. This is Shura's 3rd time, right? How many missions did he complete in an hour? 15. 15, and he still hasn't broken the record? Is his strategy wrong? He shouldn't be greedy for high-level missions. Even if those medium and large teams can't beat him, they'll waste a lot of time if they just focus on running. Shura's strength isn't a problem, but he's always lacking a little. Speaking of which, who's competing with Shura? 16 missions in an hour? Did he take pills? Maybe he took a lot of pills to increase his status. Otherwise, how could he complete so many missions? At this moment, Shura walked out again. This time, his expression wasn't too good. He didn't say a word and directly left the trial battlefield. On the announcement board, his record was still 15 missions. Another 15? There were a few people who came out with Shura. Seeing them, the crowd rushed over. "Hey, Shura seems to be very angry. What's going on?" One of the people who came out of the battlefield said, "Someone here is completing missions, and it's already alerted the other races. Don't enter the trial battlefield if there's nothing important. It's too dangerous inside." Experts from other races are here? Yes, I heard that humans dare to do quests in the trial grounds. Naturally, the other races can't stand by and watch. Those true experts are currently pouring into the battlefield. If it weren't for the sudden appearance of experts, Shura would have been able to complete 16 quests this time. So Shura is angry because of this? Not entirely. Another person checked the wound on his shoulder as he said, there were several foreign race experts who called Shura Death God when they saw him and mocked him. Originally, we all thought that it was because of Shura's outstanding battle achievements that he was respected by the enemy. Who would have thought that they had mistaken him for someone else? You got the wrong person? That's right. They're calling for another one-armed beast tamer from the city of exiles. He's the one who broke the record with 16 missions. Now, there are experts from all the clans who want to stop him. At this moment, everyone finally understood why Shura was so angry. It was fine that he didn't break the record, but on the other side, they only recognized Death God and not Shura. He clearly had the highest number of quests. How could he not have a name after completing 4 quests in a row? The news from the trial grounds quickly spread in the city of exiles. Everyone began to search for the one-armed beast tamer around them. However, the city of exiles was very big, and everyone frequently went out on quests. Although it was very conspicuous to have a severed arm or leg, it wasn't unique. Moreover, Some people would spend some military merit points to buy limb regeneration pills after losing an arm. This way, it was very difficult to determine who the one-armed death god was. In a double dormitory in the south of the city, an old man was sitting alone on the edge of his bed. His eyebrows were tightly knitted, and he had a lot on his mind. He had already heard the news outside. The one-armed death god. Provoking Shura. When these two things were put together, he naturally thought of one person. Solipsistic. Is it that kid? It's possible. He wants to use this matter to delay Shura so that he won't have time to deal with the treasure map in the short term. Shura had always thought too highly of himself. When faced with such a situation, he had no choice but to step in and solve it. However, his strength was just a little bit lacking. How could a normal person have the energy to do anything else when they had to clear the trial grounds 4 times a day? Good, you brat, you're actually so strong. 16 quests. Even Shura can't do it in one go. Cowherd's eyes, which had been dim for a long time, suddenly lit up. This was the expression of someone who had seen hope. The next morning, Shura changed his usual behavior. He didn't inform anyone and took advantage of the fact that the trial grounds were empty to challenge the trial grounds again. Young master, these are assault talismans, spirit-gathering talismans, and divine travel talismans. Shura's bodyguard took out a stack of talismans and handed them to Shura. Shura quickly put away the talismans. Yes, with the Holy Spirit pills, Holy Blood pills, and elemental enchanted magic stones that I exchanged for, my combat power will double. I don't believe that I can't break his record. The one-armed death god? Very well, I'll let you know the consequences of provoking me. The bodyguard continued, Young master, the elders in the family said that it's more important for you to do business. What do they know? Shura couldn't help but rage. When I didn't have any achievements, they always said that I was useless. I've been in the land of exiles for so long, how much information have I provided the family? I'm the god here. If it weren't for this identity, where would they get that information? A bunch of trash who only know how to talk big. When I become stronger, I'll destroy them sooner or later. Since this was the young master's intention, the bodyguard didn't dare to say anything more. He only reminded him, Young master, you have to be careful of other experts. These 2 days, you and the one-armed death god have done too many missions. I'm afraid that someone will stop you. You don't have to worry about my matters. Your mission is to find out who that one-armed Grim Reaper is for me. Even if you have to turn the entire city of exiles upside down, you have to find out who he is. Your subordinate understands. After I find out who he is, I'll skin him alive. Shura revealed a murderous glint under his mask. After the young master left, the bodyguard checked his mail and snorted coldly. As expected, he can't do anything right, but he's good at spoiling things. Fortunately, the family had allowed me to follow this trash. The mail already contained important information. The bodyguard put it away and looked towards the south of the city. That old thing, is he living there? He actually let him hide under my nose for so long. Then, the bodyguard walked towards the south of the city. On the 10,000 tribes battlefield, beside a long river, stood a lonely pavilion. Lu Qin had already left the city and followed the Sky Fiend clan's team here. After a night on the road, Lu Qin rested here for the time being. Lu Yi took out a pill and handed it to Lu Qin. Boss, today's solid pill, the day before yesterday, and today's pill. Your injuries shouldn't worsen anymore. Lu Qin took the pill and swallowed it. He immediately felt refreshed. It's really immediate. I feel much better now. Little Green, it's been hard on you. It's not hard at all. By the way, boss, my alchemist level has increased. I can refine foundation pills now. Foundation pills? What's it for? Your body has a short-term resistance to the regeneration pill. The foundation pills are specially made to deal with this situation. It can strengthen the foundation and nurture the essence. The medicinal effect is mild, but it's not suitable for you to develop resistance. It can help you recover from your physical injuries. That's great. Please let me recover as soon as possible. I'm so tired now. Don't worry, boss. I'll definitely heal your injuries. Yes, I believe in you. Lu Chen nodded. At that moment he received a mail. Earth's players could no longer send him mail. It was either from Mount Strength or Cowherd Man. Lu Chen hurriedly opened it. The mail was indeed from Cowherd Man. There were only 9 words in the letter. "They're here. Don't worry about me. Run." Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Chapter 483. Azura had found the cowherds so quickly? That was out of Lu Chen's expectations. Lu Chen hurriedly found Lu Yi and prepared to return to the city of exiles. "What? Are you leaving? Are you not going to follow us anymore?" A few non-humankind beings slowly walked out of the woods around the pavilion. These fellows had 2 horns on their heads and were tall and sturdy. Their skin color varied, and they looked somewhat similar to humans. They were not too ugly, and instead looked full of masculine beauty. Although they all had the word demon in their name, the sky demons were different from the other demon races who looked so abstract. As the overlord race of the 3rd heaven, every sky demon had a noble air about them. At the same time, they were also quite powerful. The sky demons had very strong bodies in real life, and did not lose out to the races that were known for their physical bodies like the monster race, the titan race, or the dragonman race. Moreover, their bodies were not too exaggerated, giving them excellent agility. It was said that the sky demons had a set of high-level mental cultivation techniques and several sets of cultivation techniques with growth, passed down from generation to generation. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. He had been very careful, and yet he was still discovered by this group of sky demons? More sky demons walked out of the forest. The one in the lead was 3 meters tall, wearing golden armor and a red cape fluttering behind him. The words on the badge on his chest translated to Marshal. Lu Chen frowned. He had been tailing this group of about 300 people at first and did not notice this fellow. Who would have thought that such a group would be personally led by a marshal? Human. The sky demon leader walked in front of Lu Chen, narrowing his eyes and saying in a low voice, "Are you not afraid of death?" Lu Chen frowned and drew countercurrent. "Looks like this battle is unavoidable. How unlucky." With the help of the solid pill, his injuries would not worsen and were around 50% damaged. However, he did not know what would happen if a fierce battle broke out. But now, he had no choice but to fight. The leader looked at Lu Chen coldly. His eyes suddenly turned from green to red, and then quickly recovered. "Your physical body has suffered 53% damage, and you've lost your right arm. You must have given up on this spy mission." Suddenly, the leader changed the topic. "If I give you hope, but you have to give me something in exchange, would you be willing?" Lu Chen frowned slightly. "What do you want?" "I want that ghost pet of yours. In exchange, not only will I let you go, I will also give you a limb regeneration pill and 10 Shenong pills." Lu Chen was slightly surprised. Shenong pill? Marshals seemed to be able to exchange for more pills than him. Lu Chen stared at the heavenly demon marshal and narrowed his eyes. "So, you have been here for a long time?" When they came, Lu Chen had clearly called Lu Yi back. The heavenly demon marshal had specifically asked for Lu. This meant that they had seen Lu Yi and had seen Lu Yi give Lu Chen the pills. Lu Yi was indeed beautiful. Some players with strange hobbies might want her, but these people were from the heavenly demon race. They were from different races. They naturally wanted Lu Yi not because of her beauty, but because of her alchemy skills. They had been lying in ambush for a long time. The heavenly demon marshal snorted. "You're not too stupid." "That's right. It was your soldiers who tipped us off. That's why we split up. One group attracted your attention, and the other group ambushed you." Lu Chen's heart burned with anger. He had been betrayed. It was obvious that the people who betrayed him were the 3 mission officers. Lu Chen's left hand gripped the hilt of the reverse water sword tightly. "It's fine if you let me carry out the mission alone, but you actually played with me. I think I've really tolerated you for too long. I gave you an inch and you wanted a mile. Haha, do you think you still have time to hold a grudge? Kid, hand over that ghost pet, and I'll spare your life." Lu Chen was able to get to where he was today not only because of his strength, but also because he was a person who sought stability. Before going to the next heaven, he would often max out his level and fight with spiritual martial apothecary. He had spent half a year to cultivate the 3 transformations of gods and demons. Originally, Lu Chen had planned to keep a low profile in the City of Exiles. He wanted to let Furball earn military merits and recuperate until Furball evolved and recovered from its injuries. However, the treasure map that Cowherd had given him made him cross paths with Shura. At this moment, Shura's people had already gone to look for Cowherd. The suicide mission had been betrayed, and someone wanted to see his corpse exposed in the wilderness. Very good. I'm really unlucky to reach the 3rd heaven. Lu Chen suddenly laughed, and then glared at the Sky Demon Marshal. Let me live? Do you think I'll believe you? The Sky Demon Marshal laughed disdainfully. What? Do you think you have a choice? Lu Chen was suddenly stunned. He lowered his head and laughed as he shook his head. I used to hate choices, but a friend told me that the most precious right of a person is to choose. Speaking of which, my injuries are all thanks to that guy. But I actually have to thank him. He made me understand a lot, and also made me grow a lot. Looking up, Lu Chen looked around. These sky demons were all regular soldiers, and there was no lack of officers among them. Their strength was not something that the militia in the trial battlefield could compare to. Moreover, there was a marshal among them. It was unknown how a sky demon marshal's strength compared to a human titled marshal's. Dragging his heavily injured and crippled body, Lu Chen's lips suddenly curled up. Lu Chen laughed maniacally. He put away the reverse water scale sword. With one hand he slowly pulled out an item from the void. This item was suffused with golden light. As it was pulled out inch by inch, the 9 dragon shadows on its surface gradually appeared. Whoosh! Lu Chen pulled out his weapon and held it with one hand, standing proudly in the field. He twisted his neck with a look of regret. My personal doctor must be very angry. Sorry, little green. This time it is to fight. All of you, come at me together. I'm in a hurry. Lu Chen's eyes shone with a green light. In the next second, the pavilion by the corpse river exploded. With a furious roar, Lu Chen's body exploded with a blinding golden light, and then he flashed in front of the Sky Demon Marshal. Demon transformation. The Sky Demon Marshal heard a voice in his ear. Remember, in front of me, you have no right to call yourselves demons. The City of Exiles. Between the messy bungalows in the dormitory area in the south of the city, a man was fleeing in panic. He was wearing an exile mask, so his appearance couldn't be seen clearly. However, from his posture, it wasn't difficult to tell that he wasn't young. At this moment, he was running through the slum-like alleys while looking back from time to time, nervously paying attention to the situation behind him. This person was Suoweng. Behind him was a civet cat. It seemed that this little guy had come to inform its master in advance. Shura's personal bodyguard was coming to the south of the city. After receiving the news, Suoweng left his residence immediately. That kid asked me to hold on for a while more. It should be related to his injuries. Although Solipsistic had set a record of 16 missions in 1 hour, Suoweng was very clear that he couldn't continue fighting due to his injuries. Secondly, the power behind Shura was what he was really afraid of. I can only escape from the City of Exiles. Kid, don't come back. The power behind Shura is something you can't imagine. In front of him was the South Gate. Beyond the South Gate was the 10,000 tribes battlefield. Shura shouldn't dare to chase after him. When he was less than 200 meters away from the South Gate, a figure walked out leisurely from the side alley. You're really stupid. I just had to wait here for you, and you really came. The person raised his head. It was as if he could see the proud face behind his cold mask. Chapter 484. Cowherd sucked in a breath of cold air. This guy had been waiting for him all along. Moreover, he had even given him his ID. There was no doubt that they knew enough. Cowherd retreated step by step. What do you want? Fighting is forbidden in the City of Exiles. Old dog, don't lie to yourself. Is there anyone around you? Cowherd hurriedly looked around. This area was close to the South Gate, but there was not a single soldier. Not to mention soldiers, there was not even a single player. There's only you and me here. It's useless even if you scream yourself hoarse. Tell me, where is the treasure map? Cowherd knew that there was no way out. He pulled out his longbow and stared at the other party. You want the treasure map? Dream on. Very good. I like stubborn people like you. That's more challenging. The other party's figure flashed and appeared in front of Cowherd. At the same time, 2 daggers appeared in his hands. I'll let you have a taste of what it means to be killed instantly. Ghost martial dual daggers, dismember. Beside the ruins of the pavilion, only the marshal was left of the 300 celestial demon soldiers. The celestial demon marshal panted heavily and looked at the human in front of him in disbelief. He had used ghostly layers and 9 dragons to destroy the world with his heavily injured body. His injuries had worsened again. At this moment, he was holding onto the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment with one hand. His body swayed slightly in the wind, and blood gushed out from under his mask. However, the celestial demon marshal's eyes were filled with shock as he looked at this half-dead guy. It's the Jotun destroyer. That's the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment in your hands. Lu Chen forced himself to breathe. As expected of the marshal. You're quite knowledgeable to recognize my weapon. The owner of the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment. That means you're the human who broke through the heavenly punishment tower that day. Thinking about it, I should have known. The more the celestial demon marshal thought about it, the more shocked he became. That day, rumor had it that the solipsistic was in a very bad state. He even lost an arm. He forced himself to use 9 dragons to destroy the world, which worsened his injuries. I just didn't expect that you still hadn't fully recovered after so long. The heavens are helping me. Today I Tianmin have met you. The heavenly devil's ID was Tianmin. The more he spoke, the more excited he became. His eyes gradually glowed red. Lu Chen leaned against the 9 dragon pillar and raised his head with difficulty. He looked at the heavenly demon marshal with contempt. So what if it's me? I can still take your life. The heavenly demon general snorted coldly. You were able to pass through the heaven punishment tower. I admit that your strength is astonishing. If you were in your complete state, I wouldn't be your opponent. But look at you now, your body has suffered more than 75% damage. Most of your skills can no longer be used. You only have a quarter of your HP left. Although I don't know what kind of skill demonic transformation is, after watching you fight just now, I can tell that you have a passive. The lower your HP ratio, the faster your attack speed, the higher your attack damage, and the shorter your skill cooldown. However, after your HP has dropped to 2,600,000, the impact on you is too great. You don't dare to keep your HP too low. Back then, tens of millions of human soldiers wanted to kill you for your treasures in front of the Heaven Punishment Tower. They thought that you would be at your weakest when you just passed the Heaven Punishment Tower. That would be the best time to attack. But even then you escaped. But who would have thought that I would meet you today, in an even worse state? Solipsistic, it's not me who wants to destroy you, it's the heavens who want to destroy you. After the heavenly demon marshal finished speaking, his body suddenly doubled in size. Scales grew all over his body, covering his entire body. His red eyes emitted red mist, and a long spear appeared in his hand. The spear was more than 5 meters long, and it emitted a black aura that struck fear in people's hearts. It was obvious that it was not an ordinary weapon. Immortal Marshal. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. It's good that you know. You're not the only one who can transform. I will use my Black Fiend demonic spear to destroy your 9-dragon pillar of heavenly punishment. Today, I'll take your life and your treasures. Heavenly Demon Godslayer Spear, Godslayer Spear. Suddenly, the Sky Destroyer turned into a black gas. This was not a metaphor. That guy and the spear almost merged into one, turning into a sharp black gas that shot towards Lu Chen. I'm going to kill you in one shot. Today I, Tianmin, will make a name for myself in the third heaven. Go to hell. Tianmin was using the heavenly demon Godslayer spear's strongest attack. It seemed that he really wanted to kill Lu Chen in one shot. Lu Chen panted heavily. His severe injuries had left him in a terrible state, and the pain all over his body was almost suffocating him. He had finally recovered, only to be ambushed by a villain and run into a heavenly demon elite. Although the heavenly demon squad hadn't hurt him, the key problem was that every time he attacked, his physical body would be damaged even more. He had injured 500 enemies, but he had lost 1,000 of his own. Tianmin was right. Lu Chen's cultivation technique's special effects were almost useless. There seemed to be only one outcome waiting for him. However, at that moment, Lu Chen laughed in the face of his opponent's fatal attack. I've always said that the heavenly demons are smart. It seems that you've really disappointed me. Tianmin's heart skipped a beat. Was that guy bluffing, or did he really have something up his sleeve? Heavenly Might Chess Formation. Lu Chen said in a weak voice. If you want to kill me, you'll have to break this formation first. I still have things to do, so I won't play with you anymore. At that moment, Tianmin suddenly realized that the solipsistic opposite him had suddenly disappeared. His Godslayer spear had lost its target. Immediately after, the surroundings changed drastically. A huge chessboard rose from beneath his feet. There were black and white chess pieces on the board, and they quickly transformed into human figures. This is a formation. When did he set it up? Formations were powerful, but many of them had to be set up beforehand. For example, a formation like the Heavenly Might Chess Formation that could confuse a heavenly demon marshal like him was definitely not something that could be set up so easily. So the question was, how did the solipsistic have the time to set up this formation? The black and white chess pieces around him transformed into 300 human soldiers. As the only enemy in the chessboard, Tianmin had obviously become the chessboard's target. The 300 soldiers shouted in unison. Heavenly Might Killing Formation. Then, they quickly changed their positions and surrounded Tianmin. This is a formation within a formation. Tianmin's eyes were about to pop out of their sockets. It seemed that the Heavenly Might Chess Formation was more difficult to deal with than he had imagined. Whether or not he could get out was another matter, let alone chase after the solipsistic. While observing the chess pieces around him, Tianmin roughly counted the number of chess pieces. There were 300 chess pieces. When he saw this number, Tianmin's heart skipped a beat. 300 chess pieces, the same as the number of his subordinates. Suddenly, Tianmin realized when the solipsistic had set up the formation. He used the ghost shadows to descend and kill my subordinates while setting up the nodes of the formation. In the end, I was already inside the formation. At this thought, Tianmin's back broke out in a cold sweat. That guy had set up such a powerful formation right under his nose? From the very beginning, he had planned to avoid a fight with him. To be more precise, he didn't want to fight with him personally. He hadn't made a move yet, and he had unknowingly placed himself in danger. This kind of scheming was terrifying. Solipsistic? Tianmin committed this name to memory. Outside the city of exiles, a man covered in blood approached the southern city gate step by step. His eyes were burning with green flames. The wound on his right shoulder had opened up completely, and he was limping as he walked. Cowherd, I told you that I wouldn't let you die. Hold on, I'm coming. Chapter 485. At the south gate of the city of exiles, a well-built man looked at the old man lying in front of him and snorted, I didn't expect you to be so strong. It's a pity that you met me. Cowherd knelt on one knee and spat out blood. Was this the Shura's subordinate? His strength was too terrifying. Furthermore, he had a skill that could damage the body. He had severed his tendons, and now all his movement skills were disabled. It seemed that he couldn't escape in the end. Hand over the treasure map, and I'll spare your life. Cowherd raised his head. Do you think I've lived for nothing? Do you think I'll believe your words? If you want to do it, then do it. I knew this day would come anyway. You want to die? Haha, you think it's too easy. Do you think you can just go back to the first layer of heaven to reincarnate? I'm sorry, but with me here, it's hard for you to die even if you want to. Speaking of which, it just so happens that I bought a technique to torture people some time ago. It said that the people who bought it said that it's surprisingly effective. If it's really that useful, I'll write a good review for the seller. Cowherd stared at the man, trembling with anger. You? are just the Shura's lackey. The man didn't care about Cowherd's abuse at all. Oh, right, you seem to be from the Green Rock planet. It's also a trash planet with low martial arts. However, I heard that the people there are quite hardworking. Occasionally, a few of them can reach the third layer of heaven. You must be one of them. Many young people regard you as their spiritual leader. I wonder what those young people who idolize you will think if I send a video of you being tortured to your planet. You beast! Cowherd clenched his teeth. You want to send a video of me being tortured? Sure, I can't ask for more. My Jyotian days have come to an end. I was just worried that I wouldn't be able to guide them further. Your video will definitely ignite the fighting spirit of my people. They will also become the most turbulent wave after the war. That person narrowed his eyes slightly. This Cowherd was really stubborn. Beast? If I'm a beast, then you can't even compare to me. Isn't that worse than a beast? This man's eloquence wasn't bad. Cowherd, listen to my advice. Hand over the treasure map and I'll give you a quick death. If you don't believe me, I can send you a time limit duel. You don't have to worry about me doing anything to you in a time limit duel, right? Why don't you think about what hope you have? Why are you still struggling? It's just a treasure map. If you could find it yourself, you would have done so long ago. Why would you go to such lengths for a treasure that you can't obtain? That person began to reason with him. Cowherd man chuckled. I can't have it, but neither can you. You are courting death. I'll dig out your eyes first so that you can never see the treasure map again. As he spoke, the man raised his daggers and was about to stab the old man's eyes. At this moment, a sonic boom erupted from the city wall behind him. Then, a black arrow jumped through space and arrived in front of the Shura guard in the next second. Cowherd looked at the city wall in shock. Who would come to save him at this time? There was a bloody man standing on the city wall. That man was swaying in the wind and couldn't even stand properly. Beside him stood a lady in green. She seemed to be the one who shot the arrow just now. It's him. Cowherd man's mind was blown. This silly boy, how did he become like this? Didn't I tell him not to come back? This arrow was too sudden, and there was no trajectory at all. It hit the guard instantly. Minus 1,244, at level 3, there was still more than 1,000 damage? The guard couldn't believe it himself. Haha, is this tickling me? Looking at the arrow on his shoulder, the guard laughed wildly. However, as he laughed, he suddenly realized that something was wrong. He didn't know when, but there was a white furry little thing standing on the arrow. That thing had a pair of green bean-sized eyes, and it was looking at him cutely. What the hell is this? The guard frowned. Squeak, squeak, squeak. The guard was speechless. However, in the next second, that cute little fur ball suddenly expanded and pounced on the guard. Feast. Minus 880,000. The guard's HP dropped by 1/5. At the same time, he was hit by 3 debuffs. The most important thing was that the attack of the big rat damaged his flesh. With one bite, a large piece of flesh was missing, and his shoulder was bleeding profusely. Moreover, after biting his shoulder, it didn't let go. The debuffs quickly stacked on top of each other. Second, third, and the guard's HP was also rapidly decreasing. This is... The guard finally remembered to look back at the city wall. The figure on the wall was wearing a mask, so his face couldn't be seen. However, he could see that he was missing an arm. The guard wasn't stupid. In addition, he had been hearing about this person from Shura for the past 2 days, so he immediately thought of that name. Yes, one-armed Grim Reaper. Being entangled by the furry little thing, that guy didn't have time to care about Cowherd Man. He used the triple door to teleport to Cowherd Man's side. Old man, are you okay? Cowherd Man looked at Lu Chen in disbelief. Why are you back? How did you get hurt so badly? I was tricked by a few scumbags. When I recover, I'll come back and take their lives. For now, let's leave this place first. After saying that, Lu Chen rushed to help Cowherd Man up. He almost fell down himself. Old man, can you stand up by yourself? Cowherd Man struggled to stand up and supported Lu Chen instead. You're already like this and you still came back to save me? Aren't you a little too bold? Lu Chen laughed. Haha, I'm only injured and not dead. Why can't I come back? I said that I won't let you die. Let's go. The two of them supported each other. When they passed by the guard who was in a tough battle, the guard temporarily forced the furry little thing back with a slash of his sword. He looked at Lu Chen in horror. You're one-armed Grim Reaper. Why did you save him? Lu Chen stopped and looked at that person. After thinking for a while, he said to the furry little thing, eat until you're clean. In the mountains outside the 10,000 tribes battlefield, in a dark spring cave, spring water flowed. However, the water was mixed with a large amount of blood, turning it red. Lu Yi was treating Lu Chen's injuries. Miss, his injuries are very serious. Can he be saved? LVE's eyebrows were tightly knit together as she cleaned Lu Chen's wounds. My master was seriously injured before, and I had already managed to control his injuries. But this time, he was framed by a villain and encountered a heavenly demon powerhouse. His injuries became somewhat unmanageable. If we don't stop his injuries, his physical body is stronger than the average person. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to hold on. When the Jiutian game first came to Earth, the officials called the three-dimensional attributes physical strength. Everyone thought that it was just a special feature of the Xianxia MMORPG that Tianxing created to attract attention. But now that they thought about it, it was the most correct way to call it. Lu Chen was able to survive until now despite being seriously injured repeatedly. This was definitely related to his physical attributes. Old man, Lu Yi said anxiously, help me take care of him. I need to refine some solid pills. It might take some time. Cowherd thought for a while. Miss, it might be too late to refine them now. Tell me what kind of pills he needs, and I'll give them to you. Lu Yi looked at Cowherd strangely. It'll be more expensive to buy the pills directly. Besides, you're injured yourself. It's okay. I've been in the City of Exiles for many years. I've earned a lot of military merits. Cowherd waved his hand. He looked at the unconscious Lu Chen and sighed. I've been in the third heaven for so many years, but I've never seen a guy who doesn't care about his life like him. He told me not to say that I'm his friend outside, but I don't know why, but I'm proud to be his friend. Chapter 486. Cowherd had over 40,000 military merits. Even if Lu Chen cleared the training battlefield for an hour every day, it would still take him a month to earn that much. Without a doubt, to a normal person, this was a huge sum of money. Lu Yi knew that with Lu Chen's personality, he might not want Cowherd's military merits. But now that Lu Chen was unconscious and his life was in danger, she couldn't care less. Then, old man, can I trouble you to see if you can exchange for 7 Phoenix Breath pills? Let's stabilize boss's situation first. Lu Yi didn't know the old man's military rank and didn't know what level of pills he could exchange for. She could only let him search first. Let me see. 7 Phoenix Breath pills, right? Search. Found it. 7 Phoenix Breath pills are 2,000 military merits for 1. It was indeed a bit expensive. Old man, please exchange for 3. Miss, I see that there are still 8 Phoenix Breath pills. That's too expensive. It's really expensive. 5,000 military merits for 1. I can't bear to use it in my entire life. Here, I exchange for 3. Cowherd complained. But his hands didn't waste any time and directly exchanged for 3. I originally wanted to give this brat the best pill. I just saw that there were still 9 Phoenix Breath pills. In the end, it's 12,000 military merits for 1. Forget it. Little brother, we poor people should just use the normal ones. Old man, it's fine. I can slightly refine it. Although it's not as good as 9 Phoenix Breath pills, it's better than 8. Oh, that's great. Cowherd saw that Lu Yi was busy and couldn't help but ask, Miss, you're a ghost pet? It's too good to have you by my side. Did you appear in the second layer of heaven? Lu Yi smiled, old man, it's not convenient for me to say more. I can only say that there's only one Jiutianmi. The old man nodded regretfully. I even said that if I knew where it came from, I could tell the youngsters in my hometown to fight for it. That's right. Miss is indeed different. That's right. With the speed at which this brat earns military merits, his injuries should have been healed by the regeneration pill long ago. He hasn't recovered yet, so he must have developed a resistance to the regeneration pill. Louis nodded. That's true. I refined a solid pill for him before, but as soon as it stabilized. Then I'll change it to some high-grade pills. You tell me which ones won't give me resistance. Oh, right, I'll change it to the limb regeneration pill too. I'll cure this brat in one go. Louis glanced at the old man and hurriedly stood up to bow to him. Thank you, old man. Cowherd helped Louis up. What are you thanking me for? My life was saved by him. It's not excessive to give him all 40,000 military merits. Aya, this kid is really lucky to have you assisting him. Later, Lucien slowly woke up. As soon as he opened his eyes, he found that he was in a particularly good state. What was going on? Wasn't I seriously injured and almost dead? Lucien was a little confused and scratched his head out of habit. When he put down his right hand, he suddenly thought of something and stared at his right arm with wide eyes. Damn, my right arm. I'm not dreaming, am I? Lucien was still not used to not having his right arm. After all, he still had his right arm in reality. Now that his right arm was back, it was definitely great news for him. Boss, you're awake? Louis came back from outside the cave with some herbs. There are some herbs outside. I went to collect some. I can help Cowherd refine some antidote pills. Boss, are you feeling better? Cowherd spent a lot of money to get you a lot of pills. Your injuries should be better now. Brat, you're finally awake. Cowherd followed behind Louis and limped in. He was probably afraid that Louis would be in danger when she went out alone. The pills I got were not worth mentioning. But Missy was actually able to increase the quality of the pills. Brat, your luck is too good. Lucien blinked his eyes. He finally remembered what happened before. It seemed that when he was unconscious, these two people took care of him. Cowherd had also exchanged a lot of pills, including the limb regeneration pill. That was why he felt so good. I feel much better. Old man, how did you get poisoned? How come I don't remember you being poisoned? That guy's dagger was poisoned. It's physical poison. Physical poison? What's that? Yes. Cowherd came to Lucien's side and sat down. Don't tell me that you don't even know about this. Is it strange? I've been here for less than a month. No way, a month? You've been here for only a month and you're already so powerful? Then aren't you going to flip the heavens in the second layer of heaven? Lucien smiled. It's barely passable. Really? Then tell me about it. A real man doesn't talk about his past achievements. What's there to talk about? Lucien smiled and shook his head. Old man, let me tell you. Coming to the third layer of heaven, I'm really unlucky. Lucien was too depressed. He was a super strong person, but he was forced to escape to the city of exiles in the third layer of heaven. He was even framed by a villain. Just thinking about it made him angry. You won't believe it even if I tell you. The first day I came, I encountered a monster invasion. My team's village was destroyed. Then, there was a spy among the humans and I was betrayed. Then I went to that place. Anyway, I went to a place and had one of my hands cut off. Since then, I haven't been in good condition. Later, I was wanted by a group of people and ran to the city of exiles. I originally planned to recuperate here for a vacation. Good heavens, I met a villain again. When I was on a suicide mission, the 3 mission officers had already agreed with the Heavenly Fiend clan to kill me. Fuck, this month has been a nightmare. Lucien was too aggrieved. Although he had obtained the Heavenly Punishment Tower's most valuable treasure, the mixed Yuan heart technique, the wishful long staff had been upgraded to the 9 dragon pillars of Heavenly Punishment, and he had also gotten a treasure map. The process was too aggrieving. It was not easy to catch someone, and Lucien could not help but pour out his grievances. Since Lucien had concealed the most crucial factor of the Heavenly Punishment Tower, and he was wanted by the third layer of heaven, his experience did not sound too scary. Silly boy, the first 2 layers of heaven were all for fun. In the third layer of heaven, you can see the nature of humans. No, it's the nature of thousands of races. You have been tricked twice along the way, which also proves this point. Lucien shook his head. Well, I have indeed felt it. In the third layer of heaven, in fact, I have not seen the real wild monsters. Instead, those people are similar to wild monsters. This Jiutian, every time you go up a level, it becomes more real. Cowherd patted Lu Chen on the shoulder. Well, don't say these discouraging words. How does your new arm feel? You have to adapt to it for 2 or 3 days first. Boss, there are still the 8 Phoenix Breath pills, Great Blood Recovery pills, and other high-grade pills. Because the effects are very strong, I dare not use them all at once. I am afraid that you will develop resistance again. It will take about 3 days for you to fully recover. Lu Chen nodded. 3 days it is. I will wait for 3 days. Damn, this time I finally have a chance to recover. I can't waste it anymore. Cowherd looked at Lu Chen strangely. No, boy, why do I hear what you mean? What are you going to do in 3 days? What am I going to do? Lu Chen sneered. Of course, I am going back to collect the debt. Chapter 487. In the Wild Spring Cave, Lu Yi was responsible for taking care of Lu Chen and Su Awang, but both of their conditions were very stable. When she had nothing to do, she would go out to pick herbs and refine pills. When she went out, Lu Chen would deliberately run over and let the little fur ball protect her, telling her not to go too far. Lying on a temporary straw bed, Su Awang looked at Lu Chen with a strange look in his eyes. When Lu Chen came back, he saw Su Awang smiling foolishly. Hey, old man, why are you smiling so wretchedly? I say, do you like Lu Gunyang? Look at you two, you're no different from a young couple. Lu Chen gave him a blank look. I say, can your thoughts not be so dirty? She's my ghost pet. Don't you know that humans and ghosts walk different paths? Humans and ghosts walk different paths? Hey boy, I said you were quite smart. Why are you suddenly so stupid? Have you seen the undead? Have you seen the Nether Ghost Clan? They all exist. What does that mean? Lu Chen was a little confused by this series of questions. You mean, after people die, they become ghosts, which is equivalent to becoming another race? I don't know, but we've only reached the 3rd heavenly layer. If Jiutian is a mountain, we can only be regarded as standing at the foot of the mountain, not at the peak. How can you see the whole picture? Lu Chen nodded. Boy, be good to Lu Gunyang. Maybe in the future, she won't just be a ghost pet. After saying something meaningful, Su Awang turned his head to rest. Lu Chen glared at him, but he only saw his back. Old man, what are you thinking all day? The old man was very bad. After saying a few words, he went to sleep. Lu Chen got up and walked to the entrance of the cave, where he saw Lu Yi drying some raw herbs. The little furball jumped around Lu Yi, which was rare for him to be particularly obedient. Little furball, don't think about these herbs. Lu Chen immediately saw through the little furball's thoughts. This fellow had grown up eating medicinal herbs, so it would be strange if he wasn't moved by the sight of medicinal herbs. Seeing Lu Chen coming over, the little furball climbed onto Lu Chen's shoulder, feeling wronged. Creak, creak, creak. Tiske, don't make it sound so nice. Do you think I don't know you? Aren't you going to transform? Why are you running around instead of sleeping? It would be strange if it wasn't for food. Lu Yi finished what she was doing and walked over with a smile. Boss, don't talk about little furball. Some of these herbs are not commonly used and are useless. I'm using them to improve my level of refining medicine. When the time comes, can I give them to little furball to eat? Lu Chen smiled. Naturally, he didn't care about these things. No wonder little furball likes you so much. It turns out that you've found someone to rely on. Little furball called out to Lu Yi a few times. It seemed like he really liked Lu Yi. Lu Yi smiled and gently patted the little furball on Lu Chen's shoulder. While chatting, Lu Chen suddenly asked, Little Green, do you know about soldier dismemberment? Boss, are you asking about Mu Xian? Lu Yi thought for a while. Rogue immortals are heaven-defying existences in the 3rd layer of heaven. Normally, you won't be able to siege immortals in the 3rd layer of heaven. Whether it's true immortals or rogue immortals, I spent most of my time in Ghost Valley, so I don't know much about it. But boss, you also know that the higher the heaven domain, the higher the price of death. So, I can't say for sure. Lu Yi didn't dare to look at Lu Chen. Lu Chen sighed. Boss, are you alright? Lu Chen shook his head. I'm fine. I need to go outside and train. I need to adapt to my new arm. Don't use your energy when you train. Also, come back at noon and take your medicine. I know. The days in the spring cave were especially peaceful. Under the care of Lu Yi and the high-grade pills, Lu Chen's physical injuries were quickly recovering. On the third day, Lu Chen's injuries were finally healed. In the forest, Lu Chen roared, giving Lu Yi and Cowherd a fright. Stinking brat, what are you doing? This is the 10,000 race battlefield, my little ancestor. Lu Chen stretched his body. His body was filled with energy. He hadn't experienced this feeling in a long time. Old man, don't be afraid. Whoever comes here will be unlucky. I am no longer the original me. You really made me sullen. Bragging again, just as Lu Chen was feeling proud, a strange sound came from the spring cave. Zhi zhi zhi, ho ho, zhi zhi zhi. Only the little furball was sleeping in the spring cave. The sound was most likely but it was mixed with a low roar. It seemed to be the little furball's roar after it transformed. Lu Chen, Cowherd, and Lu Yi looked at each other and realized that something was wrong. They quickly rushed into the cave. Just as they approached the cave, there was a sudden explosion. The entire ground shook and a large number of boulders rolled down from the mountain peak. Little Green, come back. Lu Chen quickly called Lu Yi back. Old man, I don't know what happened inside. Wait here. With that, Lu Chen used 7 stars chasing the moon and rushed into the cave before the entrance was sealed. Cowherd looked up at the mountain peak. At this time, the cave was shaking more and more violently. The entire mountain was violently shaking. Heavens, what happened inside? Not long after, the mountain peak that was estimated to be over 1,000 meters high suddenly exploded. Countless boulders shot outwards, destroying a large portion of the surrounding forest. Cowherd's eyes nearly popped out of their sockets. He hurriedly dodged. Fortunately, he had rested well for the past few days. His strength was not weak and he managed to avoid a large number of flying rocks. However, when he stopped, he found that the entire mountain in front of him had collapsed. The surrounding dense forest had been cleared out, leaving behind a flat area of 10 miles. This is stinky brat Miss Lu little furball. Cowherd anxiously rushed towards the ruins. Old man, don't shout. We're out. A voice came from beneath the ruins. Then, a figure flashed out and landed beside Cowherd. Cowherd looked at the dusty Lu Chen in shock. What happened? Where's the little furball? Lu Chen brushed off the dust on his body and smiled. He opened his hand and showed it to Cowherd. In Lu Chen's hand was a little mouse. The little fellow used to be covered in white fur, but now it was covered in red fur. Its back was slightly bulging, as if there was something hidden in its fur. It stood in Lu Chen's hand and tilted its head to look at Cowherd. Its small eyes were wide open, completely different from its sleepy and listless appearance from before. It can't be. Could it be that the little furball just now transformed? Lu Chen nodded and bitterly smiled. If it transformed, then it transformed. What's the point of creating such a big commotion? I originally wanted to sleep in the cave, but now that things have changed, I'm guessing many people will come here. Lu Chen looked around. A simple transformation was probably similar to his own evolution. In the end, he was only a flash of white light, but the little furball had directly overturned an entire mountain. The overflow of energy was too fierce. Forget it. The cave is destroyed. I don't want to waste time with others. I won't stay here any longer. Oh man, let's go. Cowherd hadn't recovered from the great change just now. Lu Chen suddenly wanted to leave. Cowherd asked in a daze, where are we going? Lu Chen coldly snorted. We're going to find some people to settle our past debts. Chapter 488. Many outsiders had arrived in the city of exiles over the past 2 days. These people did not enter the city, but instead set up camp outside the city. In the main camp outside the city, several elders were interrogating a man. So, while Yun Qing was looking for the treasure map, you were competing for some record in the trial battlefield? A white-bearded elder in the main seat narrowed his eyes slightly, his tone extremely stern. The person being scolded was the god of the city of exiles, Ahura. Ahura, who had always been arrogant, was so scared that he could not speak clearly in front of the elder. Uncle, I was trying to protect my position in the city of exiles and obtain more useful informations. Position in the city of exiles? You're so short-sighted. I'm so angry. The elder was so angry that he did not even want to look at Ahura. Another elder in the main seat shook his head. Fu Yao, we asked you to come to the city of exiles to look for the treasure map, but you said you wanted to establish your prestige. Fine, what you said back then made some sense. But now, the treasure map is so close, yet you put the cart before the horse. What record are you competing for? You can't even tell what's important and what's urgent. You really can't afford it. Sigh, it was our mistake to ask him to come. If we had asked Fu Tu to come, things might not have turned out this way. That's right. Now, not only did we not get the treasure map, but Yun Qing's body was also destroyed. We really suffered a double loss. Now, Yun Qing is lying at home, and he's on the verge of death. An elder spoke of the situation in the real world, becoming even more furious. The head of the family finally took a breath and asked in a slightly relaxed tone, before Yun Qing died, he sent a message back saying that the one-armed killing god rescued cowherd Wang and killed him. Yes, that child Yun Qing is reliable. But big brother, do you really think that the one-armed killing god will come back for the treasure map in Ahura's hands? The elder in the main seat narrowed his eyes slightly and stood up. Our Dongfang family is the sixth most powerful force in the third heaven. How can we not take revenge for our family member being killed? It's best that he comes back to look for Fu Yao. If he doesn't dare to appear, we'll find him even if we have to search the mountains and tear him to pieces. By the way, second brother, have you found the list of people who are wanted by the major forces recently? An old man stood up with a strange expression on his face, but he didn't say anything for a long time. Second brother? After being urged, that person said, Big brother, it's like this. The one-armed death god is very powerful. We speculated that he was being hunted down by at least one of the top 10 forces, which is why he had to hide in the city of exiles. I've met with the masters of the various forces, and after screening them, we found that, what did you find? Why are you stuttering today? That, I've filtered out 14 names, but I've discovered an important problem. Among them, there's a person wanted by the 10 great clans. All of his conditions are strangely consistent with the one-armed war god. He had actually made such an important discovery. Is he also wanted by our Dongfang family? Why didn't you say so earlier? Who is it? The old man looked around and found that everyone was staring at him with burning eyes. How interesting. Even they themselves were looking for the one-armed war god, but they didn't know about it in the beginning? However, second brother felt great pressure in his heart. Once the situation was revealed, it might disrupt the entire plan of the clan. Cough cough, solipsistic. When these 4 words burst out, the entire conference hall suddenly fell into silence. Dongfang Xiong couldn't help but take a few steps back and sit back down in his chair. Solipsistic? That guy who passed the Heavenly Tribulation Tower? Back then, it was rumored that he passed the Heavenly Tribulation Tower and obtained the treasure of the Heavenly Tribulation Tower, triggering a vision of heaven and earth. At that time, he was missing an arm. If it's really him, then, are we still going to snatch the treasure map? Seeing that the old fellows in the clan were all afraid of the slightest thing, Shura, who had been suppressing a bellyful of anger, exploded. What's there to be afraid of? Shura said loudly, I'm sure that the one-armed war god can't be solipsistic. If he was, he would have reattached his broken arm long ago. With his military rank, he can't buy the limb regeneration pill. I remember that he was just a militia. An elder said, Solipsistic lost his right arm for the treasure of the Heavenly Tribulation Tower and was seriously injured. Moreover, when he left his name behind, he was chased by the entire third heaven. Where could he have gone? Only the city of exiles. It's impossible for there to be such a coincidence. The one-armed war god must be solipsistic. Even if that's the case, There's nothing to be afraid of. Shura said excitedly, "Uncles, everyone says that the heavenly tribulation tower can't be entered, but how many people have actually entered the heavenly tribulation tower? It's rumored that even Marshall-level powerhouses can't last more than 30 seconds inside. However, no one knows if there are any mechanisms or secret passages inside. His strength is not bad, but it's not enough to scare people to death. In the trial battlefield, if I'm in my best state, I can easily break his record. And my strength in the clan isn't the strongest. You'll definitely say that he's in a broken arm state and his body is seriously injured, so he can only achieve such results. However, don't forget that there's a saying that goes, 'Take your life when you're sick.' Don't forget that not only does he have the treasure map, but he also has the treasure of the heavenly tribulation tower. If we can obtain it, there's no doubt that we can enter the 5 major powers." Shura had been in the City of Exiles for so many years, and his speaking skills had improved a lot. His words were reasonable, and they stunned the group of clan elders. Even Dongfang Xiong fell into deep thought. The top 5 powers and the top 6 powers seemed to be only one place apart, but the difference was thousands of miles. Every time the 5 major powers held a martial arts competition, they could have one more place to participate. That meant that they had one more chance to enter the 4th heaven. Even if the one-armed war god recovers, we still have to fight this battle. Shura struck while the iron was hot. If we want the clan to advance further, this is definitely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. While they were talking, someone came in to report. "Clan leader, that solipsistic is coming this way." "What? How do you know it's solipsistic?" Dongfang Xiong asked sternly. The fact that the one-armed death god was solipsistic was the result of their discussion in the tent. He revealed his ID. That ID is golden. There was only one person with a golden ID in the entire server, and that was solipsistic. This time, Luchin didn't choose to hide his ID. He took off his exile mask, revealed his ID, and walked towards the City of Exiles. "Uncle." At this point, Shura looked nervously at Dongfang Xiong. It was time to make a decision. "Big brother, are we going to fight or cooperate?" Dongfang Xiong's chest rose and fell violently. After a long time, he swallowed a mouthful of saliva. "The Dongfang family has been a lackey for too long. This time, we must seize the treasure of the heavenly tribulation tower and the treasure map. Pass down the order. The entire clan is to prepare for battle." "Hey, and you said you don't care about your golden ID?" Zwang followed behind Luchin and looked at him with disdain. "I say, brat, if you want to come, then come. Do you have to be so high profile?" Luchin shook his head helplessly. "I really don't care. It's just that some people like to take advantage of you if you keep a low profile. Besides, I'm here to collect debts. It's not good if they can't even tell who they owe." Chapter 489. Shura is going to fight with the solipsistic. Come out and see. The news quickly spread throughout the City of Exiles, and tens of thousands of people rushed out of the City of Exiles. Outside the gates of the City of Exiles, Shura stood alone in front of the array. Behind him was the Dongfang family. Tens of thousands of people were watching his battle, which made Shura feel high-spirited. He, Shura, could finally show off in front of his family. The Dongfang family members did not wear masks, and many people in the City of Exiles recognized them. They were all shocked by Shura's true identity. So Shura is from the Dongfang family? With the power of the Dongfang family, why would he come to the City of Exiles? It's said that he was abandoned by his family. Now that Shura has made a name for himself, the Dongfang family invited him back. Shura's strength is obvious to all. He's only one step away from being a titled marshal. Today, he's finally been recognized by his family. Where did you hear that? The Dongfang family said it themselves. I think Shura is too inspirational. The Dongfang family listened to Shura's suggestion and continued to help him maintain his reputation in the City of Exiles. The image of a young man who endured hardships and endured humiliation became more and more amazing as the rumors spread. At the same time, they gave them a reasonable explanation for setting up camp outside the City of Exiles. They were here to bring Shura back. Of course, this matter was no longer the focus of everyone's attention. Now, everyone was looking forward to the solipsistic. Who is the solipsistic? Why are so many people talking about him? You guys have been in the city of exiles for too long. You don't even know about the solipsistic. That guy passed the Heaven's Punishment Tower. What? Passed the Heaven's Punishment Tower? That's impossible. I didn't believe it at first, but after he was wanted by all the factions, I believed it. Not only are humans wanted, but all the major races in the third heaven are also wanted. As long as we kill him, our name will shake the entire third heaven. We're wanted by a few factions, but that guy is wanted by the entire third heaven? This is too exaggerated. Doesn't that mean Shura can't beat that guy? Shura can't beat him alone, but don't forget, the Dongfang family is here too. They're the sixth faction, and it's said that they have 5 titled marshals. 5 titled marshals? Oh my god. The old man in the same dormitory as Lu Chen was also squeezed into the crowd. Hearing the people around him talking about this solipsistic, he was also shocked. Good heavens, wanted by the entire third heaven. Not to mention other things, just this influence alone, no matter what happens in the end, this trip to the third heaven will not be in vain. When he heard someone mention that he had lost his right arm when he escaped from the myriad races, the old man was slightly stunned. He couldn't help but think of the young man in the same dormitory. That young man had been missing for the past few days. Perhaps he had died while doing some sort of mission. What a pity. Sigh, kid, everyone has a different fate. If you're still alive, come and take a look at this solipsistic. Maybe you'll get some inspiration. At this moment, 2 figures gradually rose from the horizon in the distance. One of them carried a long staff on his shoulder, his 2 arms resting on the 2 ends of the staff. Behind him was another person wearing an exile mask, following behind him. Before he could see the person clearly, he saw the golden ID solipsistic. Damn, it's really a gold ID. This is the first time I've seen someone with a gold ID. He's wanted by the third heaven, yet he still hangs his ID on his head. This guy really lives up to his name. Shura's eyes stared at the 2 people through the mask. One was the solipsistic, the one-armed Grim Reaper who toyed with him. The other was the man he had been searching for so many years, the man with the treasure map. These 2 people definitely had great treasures on them. Killing any one of them would make him famous. The solipsistic's right arm seemed to have grown out, but he also had the support of his family. These 2 people were the key to changing his fate. Lu Chen walked in front. The man looked at the battle formation outside the city of exiles and whispered to Lu Chen, "Why are there so many people over there?" "They're from the Dongfang family." Lu Chen continued to walk forward. "My friend sent me a message saying that a large number of people from the Dongfang family are rushing to the city of exiles. Shura should be from the Dongfang family. They didn't get the treasure map, and their family members were killed by me. It would be strange if they didn't come." The man frowned. "You already knew that they would come?" "Not too long ago, I found out yesterday." "Hey old man, wait for me here. There are too many people. I'm afraid that something will happen to you if you get too close." "Is it okay for you to go alone?" Lu Chen smiled. "Wait for me here." Not long after, Lu Chen arrived in front of Shura. He looked at him and smiled. "Did you bring the thing I wanted?" Shura narrowed his eyes. "I brought it, but I'm afraid you won't be able to take it. You don't have to worry about that. How are we going to fight next?" "Ha, solipsistic, you're too naive. Don't you know how valuable you are now? How dare you show up with this identity?" Lu Chen raised his eyebrows. "Looks like you don't just want the map on my body." "Nonsense, I want the map, I want the Heaven's Punishment Tower, and I want your life." Lu Chen snorted. Relying on the fact that your Dongfang family has more people, you're pretty confident in your words. I originally didn't plan to destroy your Dongfang family, but now it seems that there's no point in keeping you alive. Destroy my Dongfang family? What an arrogant tone. Behind Shura, Dongfang Xiong snorted. "With just you? You really think you're invincible?" Lu Chen shook his head and removed the 9 dragon pillar from his neck. With a swing of his hand, the 9 dragon pillars spun a few times in the air before finally landing between him and Shura. With a whoosh, the 9 dragon pillar was erected in front of the Dongfang family. The end of the spear was still trembling violently. That guy doesn't want his weapon anymore? He's giving it to the Dongfang family? What do you mean? Is he admitting defeat? It can't be. Dongfang Xiong and Shura looked at the 9 dragon pillar not far away. Their gazes were uncertain as they looked at Lu Qin in astonishment. Lu Qin smiled. Do you recognize this weapon? 9 dragon pillar of heaven's punishment. Shura narrowed his eyes. This was a famous immortal martial art in the third heaven. Many people said that this weapon was the heaven's punishment tower's treasure. Its power exceeded many immortal martial arts by a large margin. It was definitely one of the top 3 divine weapons in the third heaven. Lu Qin smiled. If you want it, come and get it. Once these words came out, the faces of the Dongfang family members turned ashen. Throwing this level of immortal martial art in front of them? How could there be such an arrogant person? Arrogant, Shura roared. He couldn't hold it in anymore. I'll make you regret it. Donglai Void Technique, Void Illusion. Shura turned into a black shadow and shot towards the 9 dragon pillar of heaven's punishment. At the same time, more than 10 Dongfang family juniors were seething with anger. They all used their movement techniques, wanting to snatch the 9 dragon pillar of heaven's punishment before killing the solipsistic. Lu Qin snorted. Are all the disciples of the big families so naive? I told you to take it and you really took it? 9 dragons annihilation. The 9 dragon pillar that stood alone in the distance trembled more and more violently. Suddenly, its body expanded by 10 times. The 9 huge dragons on the body of the pillar seemed to be alive. They broke out from the body of the pillar and transformed into 9 huge dragons that were 100 meters long. They roared as they pounced towards the enemy. In an instant, the dragon's roar shook the sky. 9 types of elemental attacks came crashing down from the sky. Chapter 490. That kid is so treacherous. Quick, give him the 5 elements formation. The Dongfang family had no lack of talisman experts. Seeing this, they hurriedly made their move. However, the solipsistic also moved at this time. Ghostly shadows. In an instant, a large number of solipsistic illusions appeared on the battlefield. These illusions were all moving at high speed. Descend. In an instant, Lu Qin had already pulled out the 9 dragon pillars and descended on an illusion. His first target was obviously the Azura. Normal attack. Lu Qin swung his staff at the Azura. The Azura's reaction was not slow. When he heard the move Lu Qin used, he almost spat out blood. What the hell was a normal attack? This guy spent a lot of effort to get close, and then he used a normal attack? How lacking in skills was he that he had to use a normal attack right from the start? However, it had to be said that even if it was a normal attack, the Azura's heart still trembled when he saw that the attack was from the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment. The 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment was a super immortal weapon. However, people only knew that it had one special effect: 9 dragons annihilating the world. It was impossible for an immortal weapon of this level to have no other special effects. In short, the Azura did not dare to take it head-on. He glared angrily. Grand Illusionary Shadow. You want to dodge? I'm afraid you don't know the power of the 9 dragon pillars. Lu Qin sneered and swung his staff at the Azura. The 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment had a passive effect of sure hit. Normal attacks ignored evasion attributes below heaven level and would definitely hit. The Grand Illusionary Shadow was a displacement skill in the Donglai Void Technique. It would definitely not exceed heaven level. This staff landed squarely on the Azura's face. -2. 42 million, quadruple critical hit. -1. 38 million, poisoned. -1. 38 million, poisoned. -1. 13 million, double critical hit. -1. 38 million, poisoned. -1. 38 million, poisoned. Shura had already leveled up to Martial. His HP was actually considered high among humans, at over 8 million. Unfortunately, his luck wasn't too good. He was immediately hit by Lu Chen's 4x critical strike. After the 9 dragon pillars added critical damage, Lu Chen's damage was now quadrupled. His physical attack was now over 400,000. After deducting his defense, under normal circumstances, he should only be able to deal around 300,000 physical damage. In the end, a quadruple critical hit dealt nearly 2,500,000 HP. In addition to the 2 poisoned attacks, the subsequent damage was over 3 million, and the total damage was over 9 million. Shura, a super player whose name shook the entire City of Exiles, was known as the City of Exiles War God. His health bar disappeared. Before Lu Chen could finish dealing damage to him, Shura had already killed him with 1 hit. The entire City of Exiles, including the masters of the Dongfang family, were dumbfounded before they could react. Oh my god! The Azura War God was killed in 1 strike? Solipsistic seems to be using normal attacks. Wait, normal attack? How did he manage to deal 6 damage? Is he a poison master? Does his attack carry poison? But this poison attack is too much. 1 normal attack carries 2 poisons. 1 hit is 1. 38 million. 2 hits are 2. 76 million. Who can take that? It's too scary. His damage per second is close to 10 million. This is too unreasonable. Shura was prepared to fight to the death, but Shura didn't think that he would have so little to play. He knew that he wasn't a match for Solipsistic, and he didn't plan to fight to the death with Solipsistic right from the start. He just wanted to snatch the 9 dragon pillars and act according to the situation. He thought that no matter how strong Solipsistic was, he wouldn't be able to kill him instantly. As long as he could hold on until the masters of his family killed Solipsistic, he would definitely get the credit. But who would have thought that things would go against his wishes? He was the first unlucky one, and he lost so suddenly that others couldn't even save him. This Solipsistic's damage is too high. Dongfang Xiong's expression was serious. To kill him, we need the combined power of 5 titled marshals and the Donglai Void Formation. Otherwise, we won't be able to suppress this monster. In other people's eyes, Solipsistic's attack was extremely violent, but Lu Chen was not happy at all. His normal attack was a 5-hit combo. Adding in the poison, that was 15 segments of damage. In the end, the Shura only took 2 slashes before dying. The remaining 9 segments of damage could only be forcefully held back. Humans' bodies are too weak. It seems that humans are really too weak among the 10,000 races. A Thunder Ape's HP could reach tens of millions. Shura was a noob, and he spent most of his time in the land of the exiles, so his equipment might not be too luxurious. But a marshal only had 8 million HP. It was too little. If Lu Chen himself leveled up, his HP would definitely reach 15 million. After killing Shura, Lu Chen checked his loot. Unfortunately, there was no treasure map. In this situation, it seemed that he had to put pressure on the Dongfang family. At this moment, 5 figures jumped out from the Dongfang family's formation. Be careful of the ghostly shadows descending. Avoid those illusions. A Dongfang family expert shouted. Everyone else, back down. The aura of these 5 people was completely different from the juniors who had just come out. Their eyes were all reserved. Even in the face of Lu Chen's super explosive attack, they did not panic. It was obvious that they were people who had been on the battlefield for a long time. The 5 of them showed their titles at the same time. Martial Bodhi, Martial Tiger Roar, Martial God's Descendant, Martial Taishu, Martial Suing. Seeing these 5 titles, the surroundings exploded. It's titled marshals. 5 titled marshals. Oh my god, 5 titled marshals appeared at once. As expected of the Dongfang family, their foundation is amazing. Although titled marshals are only 1 level away from marshal, there is a fundamental difference in strength. For someone like Shura, military merits are no longer a problem, but he still can't become a titled marshal. Didn't they say that titled marshals could pass the heaven punishing tower? These Solipsistic are finished. Not only were these 5 titled marshals, but they also had different roles. The meat shield monk, the close combat pugilist, the long-range archer, the sword controller, and the invisible killer. As a family, when the Dongfang family was nurturing their clansmen, they also deliberately let them develop different branches, forming a small team with multi-layered attack methods to complement each other. Not only did they have so many titled marshals, but they could also complement each other. This was the terrifying part of the Dongfang family. Dongfang Xiong quickly summoned his second brother and third brother. Big brother, you want to ask that person to take action? With Fu Tu and the others, it should be enough. Dongfang Xiong's expression was solemn. Fu Tu and the others are just a guarantee, but they can only guarantee that we won't be defeated. Now that Fu Yao is in his hands, we are very passive. Solipsistic can escape from the hands of the myriad races. If he really wants to escape, I'm afraid no one here can stop him. This person has the Heaven Punishing Tower's treasure and the treasure map. We can't let him escape. Since we have already taken this step, we must ensure that nothing goes wrong. Second brother and third brother looked at each other and nodded heavily. All right, then let's ask that person to take action. After saying that, the three of them took out an item from their backpacks at the same time and combined the items in their hands. Dongfang Xiong took a deep breath and used the one-time Mystic Realm voice transmission talisman. Dongfang Ji, come out and take care of someone. Not long later, a reply came from the voice transmission talisman. Yes, father. Give me the coordinates, I will teleport over. Chapter 491. Solipsistic, let's see how arrogant you can be. The five titled marshals stared at Lu Chen. You dare to underestimate the Dongfang family? I'll let you have a taste of our power. Marshal Bodhi stomped on the ground and a golden Buddha image appeared on his body. Buddha's golden body. Lu Chen noticed that he had additional health, defense, and resistance buffs. Then, the monk exerted force on his hind legs and shot forward like a cannonball. Martial Tiger Roar activated White Tiger's possession and turned into a fierce tiger. He followed the monk and pounced on Lu Chen. The assassin was already hidden in a cloud of purple smoke. Without a doubt, that guy was also approaching him. The archer took out his golden longbow at the same time and exerted force on his arms. The longbow, which was as tall as a person, was pulled to its full length. Soul-suppressing shot. Royal sword flipped his fingers and 5 flying swords flew out from behind him. 4 of them were golden and the last one was probably an immortal weapon. Great void sword technique, end of end. The 5 flying swords turned into 5 streams of light and shot over from all directions. The 5 titled marshals attacked at the same time and their attacks whistled through the air. Lu Chen snorted. Divine transformation. With a boom, a golden light burst out from Lu Chen's body. Then he disappeared from the spot. Trying to run? Buddhist discourse. The monk shouted and the surroundings were filled with peaceful chanting of scriptures. Faced with so many skills, Lu Chen naturally had to dodge. However, he didn't expect the monk's Buddhist discourse to be so domineering. He was still in the 7 stars chasing the moon state and was ridiculed. Lu Chen's consciousness was affected by the chanting of scriptures. It was as if he was guided by something. 7 stars chasing the moon's route was forcefully changed and he rushed toward Marshal Bodhi. Fuck, can I not listen to scriptures? Formless, traceless Buddha fist. Under the effect of this skill, the monk's attack turned into a short to mid-range Buddha sealed attack. Before Lu Chen could get close, he was already throwing punches like rain. At the same time, the other people's attacks also arrived. Tiger descends the mountain. Martial Tiger's roar activated Lu Chen's most commonly used skill. Lu Chen's mind raced. This guy, with the White Tiger's possession, most likely had a combo effect. That was why he had been able to retain this basic skill. Mist backstab. The assassin behind him was completely hidden in the mist. He didn't even reveal himself when he attacked. The flying swords and arrows arrived in the blink of an eye. After being ridiculed, Lu Chen was instantly in a desperate situation. The people at the side watched on with great trepidation. The 5 marshals did not say much and suppressed Solipsistic in an instant. Are these the 5 titled marshals of the Dongfang family? They are so strong. Every single one of them is very strong individually. What's most terrifying is that when they work together, their strength is multiplied. Their strategy is methodical. As soon as the monk taunted them, the others tacitly found an opportunity to attack together. Those are titled marshals. Which one of them hasn't gone through hundreds of battles and killed countless enemies? Look at Solipsistic. Other than passing through the Heaven's Punishment Tower, what other achievements does he have? Although the Heaven's Punishment Tower is a forbidden area, no one knows what's inside and whether there are secret passages. Perhaps the reason why Solipsistic is so strong is because of the 9 dragon pillars of Heaven's punishment. Although the taunt did not seem to cause any damage, it was a skill that specialized in dealing with flashy moves. Even Lu Chen would not be able to escape from the taunt for a short period of time. At the critical moment, Lu Chen snorted coldly. "Are you sure you want me to get close to you?" Blood Sacrifice Shield. Lu Chen activated a skill that he could only activate when he was being taunted. Instantly, a shield with 10 million HP appeared on his body. Immediately after, he smashed his staff toward Marshal Bodhi. Buddha's words? "I hate people who reason with me the most. Since you're here, don't leave profound armor." Minus 240,000, Invisible Buddha Seal Fist. Minus 270,000, Invisible Buddha Seal Fist. Minus 250,000, Invisible Buddha Seal Fist. 770,000, Missed Backstab. Minus 340,000, Backstab Combo. Minus 340,000, Backstab Combo. Minus 280,000, Tiger Descends the Mountain. Minus 120,000, Shadow Damage. Minus 280,000, minus 120,000, minus 280,000, minus 120,000, minus 280,000, minus 120,000. Minus 920,000, Subduing Soul Shot. Double critical hit. Minus 440,000, End of the Abyss, Gold. Minus 420,000, End of the Abyss, Wood. Minus 410,000, Water. Minus 460,000, Fire. Minus 620,000, Earth. As the Blood Sacrifice Shield had no defense and did not enjoy the effects of Lu Chen's damage reduction talent, the shield took all of the damage without any resistance. The 5 of them worked together and dealt 7 million plus damage per second. A large number of damage numbers floated up. It was almost impossible to see clearly. Lu Chen's shield almost shattered. However, the shield protected Lu Chen from being affected by negative statuses. At this moment, Lu Chen's 9 dragon pillar also smashed down. What was unexpected was that the damage that appeared above Marshal Bodhi's head was actually not any less than Lu Chen's. Minus 480,000 double critical hit. Minus 530,000, poison reduction 950,000. Minus 530,000, poison reduction 950,000. Minus 460,000, double critical hit. Minus 530,000, minus 530,000, just now. After Lu Chen's normal attack hit the Shura, it only dealt 3 hits before it was insta-killed. What people did not know was that Lu Chen's normal attack actually came with a 5-hit combo. Including the poison, it was a total of 15 hits. The monk's health and defense were high, and he seemed to have high poison resistance. In addition, under the effect of taunt, he had a considerable amount of defense and toughness. Lu Chen's damage was greatly reduced. Even so, a 5-hit combo dealt 7.5 million damage to the monk's health. His health bar was instantly reduced to the red. Fuck this, is there a mistake? The onlooker's jaws almost dropped. Buddha's discourse seems to be a heaven-tier taunt skill. Who knows how much defense he added, but he was almost insta-killed. Is there a mistake? He is currently in an extreme defense state. Didn't he add toughness to reduce the chance of critical hits? Why did that guy get critical hits every time? What kind of attack is this? This is too much. Marshal Bodhi's face turned pale. The person who was taunted had activated his shield and did not lose a single drop of health. Instead, it was him who was almost insta-killed. What kind of logic was this? It shouldn't be like this. Fuck, I can't hold on. Retreat first. Just as the monk was about to run, Solipsistic suddenly activated a passive skill. Profound Armor. Passive Taunt, accelerated health regeneration, increased defense. Suddenly, Martial Subhoodie, Martial Tiger Roar, and Martial Void Shadow were all taunted. Not good. Lu Chen chuckled, you must have enjoyed the taunt just now. Alright, it's my turn now. The three of you, let's have a good chat. After saying that, Lu Chen smashed his staff toward Martial Bodhi. Not good, the monk is in danger. Control him quickly. I'll break the shield, you control him. Imperial Sword shouted. The archer and Imperial Sword in the distance attacked at the same time. Taishu Sword Art, Void Splitter. Stun Shot. The archer quickly followed. Lu Chen snorted, want to save him? 3000 Body Flash Slash. Chapter 492. After being taunted, he followed up with 3000 instant slashes. There was almost no way to escape. Leaving behind an illusion to attract the attacks of the two long-range attackers, Lu Chen turned into a shadow and jumped crazily between the three melee attackers. The monk's Buddhist mantra increased all kinds of resistances, so Lu Chen did not stun him. However, the other two were different. While they suffered a lot of damage, the debuffs on them were refreshed crazily. A large number of numbers floated above their heads. When Lu Chen appeared behind them, the three titled marshals had already fallen to the ground. Triple Door. The moment Lu Chen landed, he had already rushed toward the two people in the distance. His melee attacks are too terrifying. The sword rider and the archer used their movement skills at the same time and quickly retreated. Lu Chen was about to chase after them when he suddenly frowned. Unknowingly, the surroundings were filled with a faint purple fog. Assassin's Fog? Lu Chen turned around in surprise, only to find that the three corpses on the ground had disappeared. Revive? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. He had been careless. The three of them had actually revived. The title of Marshal did have something to it. The fog became thicker and thicker, so much so that Lu Chen could not see his surroundings clearly. Suddenly, a voice came from an unknown direction. Solipsistic, we have indeed underestimated you. However, do you think you can kill us like this? I can only say that you are too naive. Do you think titled marshals are so easy to kill? You were lucky just now. We were taunted by you before we could use our skills. Now we will play with you. Lu Chen said coldly, I was wondering how titled marshals could fight against myriad races with your strength. Now, it seems that you have not disappointed me. Arrogant. I will immediately make you die without a complete corpse. At that moment, an arrow shot out from the purple fog and headed straight for Lu Chen's heart. Clone. At the critical moment, Lu Chen activated his demon clone. During the clone, Lu Chen pulled out the abyss bow at the same time and shot in the direction of the arrow. Flash shot. Strongest bow. Pooh. A muffled sound rang out in the distance as a damage value floated up. Minus 880,000 double critical hit. 7 stars chasing the moon. Lu Chen quickly shot out a series of black crystal arrows. In the blink of an eye, 2 more arrows hit the target. Minus 920,000 double critical hit. Minus 970,000 double critical hit. At this moment, the enemy's counterattack came. A flying sword swept past Lu Chen's face. Lu Chen quickly used his displacement skill to dodge the attack and turned around to fire an arrow. The 5 demon avatars also shot arrows at the same time. Poo, piu, piu, 3 muffled sounds rang out. 3 of the 6 arrows had hit their mark. Minus 3 million. Lu Chen was deep in the purple fog and couldn't see his surroundings clearly. However, the people outside the purple fog couldn't see the 5 titled marshals, but they could see Lu Chen. This seemed to be the effect of a purple weapon, just that the 5 titled marshals were hidden. They couldn't see the 5 titled marshals, but they could see the damage that had just appeared. When they saw the solipsistic continuously injuring the enemy without knowing where they were, the surroundings were silent. This guy, he's attacking in reverse according to the enemy's trajectory? What kind of godlike operation is this? To be able to find the enemy's location based on the enemy's trajectory, This is too unbelievable. He's invincible in close combat. In terms of long-range attacks, the solipsistic is actually so strong? What is this guy's occupation? Close combat archer? Or long-range pugilist? I suddenly realized that the solipsistic passing through the Heaven's Punishment Tower might not have relied on luck. This person's attack is so terrifying, but his reaction, awareness, and mentality are all so impeccable. This is too scary. After Lu Chen consecutively injured 2 people, the purple fog suddenly quietened down. Facing such a terrifying opponent, if they attacked, they would be counterattacked. None of the 5 titled marshals dared to attack recklessly. Lu Chen thought that the other party wanted to wait for the 2 of them to recover before attacking. If this continued, it would be too much of a waste of time. Thinking of this, Lu Chen directly used 7 stars chasing the moon and moved quickly without any pattern. While moving quickly, Lu Chen continuously shot arrows at the fog. However, this time, the arrows didn't hit anyone. After all, he couldn't see anything now. In the eyes of others, Lu Chen was running around aimlessly and shooting arrows everywhere. What is he doing? Is he running around because he's afraid of being targeted? Every time someone attacks him, he's the one who hits the enemy. Logically speaking, he shouldn't be afraid of others attacking him. I don't understand what he's doing. He's using black crystal arrows, right? Those arrows are very expensive. It's too wasteful to squander them like this. Just as everyone was puzzled, Lu Chen suddenly activated a skill. Death Trap. Lu Chen's HP dropped by 80%. Quick and fierce attack. More chips. Flash shot, Death Trap, rapid attack, plus the passive Berserk. Lu Chen's attack speed had reached the extreme. Countless arrows were flying so fast that they couldn't be seen clearly. Triple Door. Although Lu Chen's HP dropped by 80%, none of the 5 titled marshals attacked him. Demon Kings will refresh. Triple Door. The group of people outside were completely stunned. Not only was solipsistic shooting wildly, but he was also continuously activating skills at this moment. Pu 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 pu, a series of dull sounds came from all directions. 5 figures fell out of the purple fog one after another. When the martial shadow was killed by a few arrows, the surrounding fog finally dissipated. The archer, sword rider, pugilist, and assassin had far less HP than the monk. When they fell out, they were already killed. Only the monk had 3 million HP left. When the fog dispersed, the monk looked at the corpses of his companions in disbelief. Then he looked at solipsistic in front of him. His eyes were filled with shock. Impossible, you? How did you find us? Lu Chen felt the pinch. He had shot a few hundred arrows, that was a few hundred gold coins. Don't revive anymore, it costs a lot of money. Lu Chen shook his head. Marshal Bodhi's face was still filled with shock. You were just shooting randomly. You couldn't have really seen us. Don't you know how you were hit? Lu Chen put away the abyss bow, changed to the 9-dragon pillar, and walked towards the monk. He was the only one left, so he was no longer a threat. Marshal Bodhi frowned. How did he get hit? Just now, that fellow had been shooting crazily, and he had been dodging with his movement skills. That fellow's arrows were really weird. They didn't have a trajectory, and they just jumped through space. The only way to determine the trajectory was to predict the flight path of the arrow from the direction he shot. After all, arrows couldn't turn in the air, so one could determine where the arrow was shot from. With the strength of a titled marshal, he was able to dodge that fellow's arrows. It was fine at first, but then that fellow's shooting speed suddenly increased, and dodging became more and more difficult. Fortunately, he relied on his outstanding observation skills to find a feasible route to dodge in the rain of bullets. Just as he was dodging, a stone door suddenly appeared beside him, and an arrow shot out from the stone door, hitting him directly. After being hit, what awaited him next was an even more terrifying storm. If he was hit like this, could it be that others were hit as well? You couldn't have seen us. This fog is a heaven-rank illusion. Lu Chen smiled. I didn't see you, but I don't need to see you to kill you. My goal wasn't to hit you, but to limit your range of movement to a range that I can control. After accelerating, continue to reduce your range of movement and give you a feasible route to dodge. You fucking have to dodge along the route I give you, and the triple door will help me complete the hit. I didn't expect all of you to be hit. Looks like your combat experience still needs to be improved. You've all disappointed me in the end. Lu Chen leisurely walked toward Marshal Bodhi, raised the 9-dragon pillar, and was about to smash it down. Boom! A bolt of lightning flashed in the sky, stunning everyone present. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes and looked up at the sky in surprise. Why was there thunder in the sky? At this moment, a white figure floated in the sky. His long hair and white robes fluttered in the wind. 2 flying swords circled around him in a frenzy. Boom! Another bolt of lightning flashed, illuminating his face. His eyes weren't completely white, and he didn't have pupils. Those who hurt my people die. Chapter 493. Haha, it's Dongfang Ji. Solipsistic, you're finished. Marshal Bodhi laughed loudly. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. How did this guy fly without wings? Was there such a strong person in the third heaven? He was able to summon thunder in his rage. This Dongfang Ji seemed to be quite strong. In the distance, Cowherd shouted at Lu Chen, "Kid, be careful. That's Marshal Tianming." If the title was given by others or oneself, then Tianming was appointed by the heavens. Marshal Tianming? Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. The Dongfang family is indeed something. Nonsense, the Dongfang family has persevered to be the 6th most powerful human force. How could we not have a Marshal Tianming? Marshal Bodhi did not care that his life was in Lu Chen's hands. Solipsistic, I admit that you're very strong. However, in front of Dongfang Ji, you're like a dog. Dongfang Ji's appearance changed the situation in the city of exiles. Countless people looked up at that man. It's Marshal Tianming. Oh my god, the Dongfang family sent out a Marshal Tianming. What's the point of the battle of the 10 great clans? Isn't it the number of Marshal Tianming? There are titled marshals every year, but a Marshal Tianming only appears once every few years. It's said that every Marshal Tianming is nurtured by the major forces at great cost. They eat elixirs that increase their attributes like jelly beans. They're very strong. There were elixirs that increased attributes in the third heaven. Although they were not as good as the elixirs that Lu Chen ate, many a little makes a mickle. The talents nurtured by the major forces would definitely have terrifying attributes. Not only did they have elixirs, but they also had all sorts of top-notch techniques and equipment. As the treasure of the major forces, Marshal Tianming's resources could be said to be inexhaustible. Solipsistic, it's a pity that I won't be able to see you die in the hands of Dongfang Ji. However, I can tell you in advance that if you fight with the Dongfang family, you'll definitely die. Lu Chen frowned slightly and glanced at Marshal Bodhi. You want to see me die? Sure, I'll give you a chance. I'll keep your life for now and I'll take it later. Turning his head, Lu Chen looked at the person in the sky. This was the first time Lu Chen had felt pressure from players. Whether it was the Heaven's Punisher Tower, the battle with the Mountain Dwellers, or the battle with the Sky Domain boss, they could only be considered half a player. They didn't even belong to the current Heaven Realm. On the other hand, Dongfang Ji was a player from the same Sky Domain as Lu Chen, and they were both humans. For Lu Chen, no human player had ever given him such a strong sense of oppression. There's actually such a strong person. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly, and then the corners of his mouth rose. Interesting. Devil's second transformation. Lu Chen spread his wings and flew into the air in his devil form. There were 2 people in the air. One was like the god of thunder descending to the world, while the other was like a demon descending to the world. One of them was surrounded by violent winds, and thunder rumbled above his head. The other was surrounded by black qi, and thunder also rumbled above his head. One's eyes were completely white, while the other's eyes were overflowing with green energy. Dongfang Ji frowned slightly. Your eyes are filled with devil qi. This isn't just a transformation effect. Could it be that you're a devil? Lu Chen also frowned slightly. Your eyes are completely white. Could it be that you have cataracts? Behind him, cowherd man almost vomited blood and died. What kind of situation was this? And that stupid blind man was still making fun of him. He really didn't want to live anymore. Marshal Bodhi was lying on the ground. When he heard Lu Chen's words, he almost went crazy. He dared to say such rude words to Dong Fangji. That kid was really crazy. Lu Chen's original intention was not to answer Dong Fangji's question, but to make fun of him. Lu Chen's mockery infuriated Dong Fangji. He clenched his teeth and spat out 2 words, "You're asking for death." Thunder Jyotin, sudden thunder vanquished demons. 2 bolts of lightning struck from the sky, directly hitting his 2 weapons. Instantly, both weapons glowed with electricity. Electric arcs danced on the swords, making crackling sounds. Lu Chen remembered the name Thunder Jyotin very clearly. Back in the heart-tempering courtyard, there were 3 heaven-level techniques for him to choose from. In fact, he almost chose the Thunder Jyotin, but in the end, the Destiny Stone helped him choose the 3 transformations of gods and demons. Weapon enchantment. Lu Chen frowned. Now that he was hit by that guy's 2 weapons, other than the possibility of additional lightning damage, there was also the possibility of him being paralyzed and other abnormal states. This pair of swords complemented the Thunder Jyotin perfectly. Not only did they have the effect of sudden thunder vanquish demons, but they were also closely connected. Could this pair of weapons be exclusive to the Thunder Jyotin? Thinking of this, Lu Chen did not dare to be careless. He took out the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment and prepared to fight. In the next second, Dong Fangji had already made his move. Thunder Jyotin, sudden thunder transformation. The 2 flying swords whistled through the air. This attack was indeed extraordinary. The 2 swords were covered in sparks. At the same time, the area between the 2 swords was filled with electric charges. The original single-target attack suddenly became an area of effect attack. 7 stars chasing the moon. Lu Chen hurriedly dodged. However, Dong Fangji's sword manipulation technique had already reached the pinnacle. His 2 swords were more agile than any sword manipulation technique that Lu Chen had ever seen. He was truly able to control where the swords pointed. The 2 swords chased after Lu Chen in different trajectories. At the same time, the electric charges in the area between them crackled. Shadow of the night. Lu Chen immediately used a powerful teleportation skill. Dong Fangji snorted coldly. "Can you outrun lightning?" Lightning attraction technique. Heavenly punishment. A thick bolt of lightning suddenly streaked down from the sky and struck toward Lu Chen at lightning speed. The lightning was so fast that it definitely surpassed the reaction speed of a superhuman. This bolt of lightning directly struck Lu Chen, who had just appeared. In less than half a second, there was a deafening boom. The speed of the lightning had already surpassed the speed of sound. First there was electricity, then there was the sound of thunder. This sound of thunder pierced through the sky. Combined with such a terrifying sound of thunder, only now did people realize just how terrifying the power of the heavenly punishment lightning that seemed to be sure to hit was. Lu Chen's remaining blood sacrifice shield was instantly destroyed, and he was hit with over 100,000 damage. Although Lu Chen's HP was only reduced by 100,000, the durability of the blood sacrifice shield was still more than 1 million. That guy's heavenly punishment had directly dealt 1 million plus damage. The damage was already comparable to Lu Chen's. Debuff, lightning paralysis, unable to use elixirs, unable to move. Lasts for 3 seconds. This Dong Fangji could not possibly only have one skill, the Thunder Eclipse. The power of his lightning attraction technique was even more terrifying than the Jyotian's Thunder Eclipse. The damage was over 1,500,000. Most importantly, not only was the lightning attraction technique's damage off the charts, but the heavenly punishment also caused a 3-second paralysis. Between experts, a 0.5-second stun could be fatal, let alone a 3-second stun. Damn it, that skill can't be dodged. Lu Chen could not help but want to complain. He really did not put up any defense just now and was directly hit by the lightning. The 2 demon subduing swords emitted electric arcs and struck at the perfect moment. Lu Chen could not dodge and was directly hit by the electric core between the 2 swords. A heart-wrenching pain came and Lu Chen was electrocuted again. Dongfang Ji had no intention of stopping. Solipsistic, you're just SO. Today, I'll turn you into a sieve. Jiutian Thunder Eclipse, Thunder Strike. Lu Chen shouted at the same time, I'm not scared of you. Buddha's salvation. Chapter 494. Buddha saves all lives could only remove the continuous loss of HP, but it had no effect on the paralysis effect. As a heaven tier technique, Buddha saves all lives would not lose to any forcefully activated life-saving skills. Buddha saves all lives could still be used even when the elixir was sealed. Although the invincible golden body could not remove the paralysis effect, it gave him a chance to preserve some HP. Lu Chen wanted this chance to preserve some HP. After he was ready, Dongfang Ji's two swords unleashed two lightning bolts at the same time. They converged into a fork-shaped lightning bolt and struck Lu Chen directly. 3 seconds of paralysis effect and 2 seconds of charging time. The combination of heavenly punishment and thunder strike was simply a perfect match. After the two lightning bolts converged, the damage value skyrocketed. -1. 88 million. Lu Chen had less than 2 million HP left. Previously, he had used up 100,000 HP. This attack directly emptied Lu Chen's HP. The other effect of Buddha saves all lives was to endure 200% damage. This attack caused Lu Chen to spit out a mouthful of blood. His sturdy chest was blasted black. Dongfang Ji frowned slightly. That kid actually used a skill while he was paralyzed? Buddha saves all lives was at least a heaven tier technique. However, it did not matter how powerful it was. Solipsistic only had 1 drop of HP left. Even if he was reborn, Dongfang Ji was still confident that he could kill him. After a short while, Lu Chen took a deep breath. Kid, if you can't kill me, it's my turn now. Ghostly shadows. Dongfang Ji snorted. Ghostly shadows? I'm afraid you don't know that I love fighting illusions. Thunder attraction technique, Thunder Seed. A large number of electric balls were separated from the two swords. They quickly scattered in all directions and landed on Lu Chen's 300 illusions. Immediately after, all the small electric balls connected with each other with electric arcs. The entire battlefield instantly formed a lightning net. The illusions would not be attacked. However, if Lu Chen used Descend at this time, he would be attacked horribly. This guy. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Stop struggling. In the third heaven, there are only a handful of people who can defeat me. Dongfang Ji smiled confidently. The Buddha saves all lives saved your life just now. Let's see if you can still survive this time. Combination technique, Thunder Summoning Jiutian. In an instant, the sky was filled with thunder and lightning. Bolts of lightning gathered more and more power. What followed next was a baptism of thunder and lightning. The spectators were already dumbfounded by this move. It's a combination skill. It must be 2 heaven tier or above cultivation techniques that are extremely compatible with each other. Only then will there be a certain chance of producing a combined skill. That Dongfang Ji specializes in thunder and lightning, and he has such a terrifying combination technique. He is practically invincible. The lightning element is indeed powerful. Look at the solipsistic ghostly shadows. It's completely useless. No wonder he's Martial Tianming. He's too strong. Even solipsistic was suppressed. Lu Chen was also stunned for a moment. Was this the combined skill of the Thundering Jiutian and the Lightning Attraction technique? Was it possible to produce such a reaction between skills? The sky and the ground were already connected by countless bolts of lightning. Lu Chen was surrounded by thick bolts of lightning. Due to the attraction of electric charges, new irregular electric arcs were formed in between the adjacent bolts of lightning. At the same time, Dongfang Ji's two swords unleashed a lightning net that covered a large area. Lu Chen's own ghostly shadows became the transfer point for the lightning. The entire space was crisscrossed and filled with countless electric arcs. The ground was bombarded by the lightning and countless cracks appeared. The sky and the ground were like a chaotic hell. Oh my God, this is a disaster. This kind of godly skill shouldn't even appear in the third heaven. Can anyone avoid this kind of attack? It's impossible. There's nowhere to run. Marshal Tianming can be the master of millions. This saying is true. Dongfangji is invincible. Bolts of lightning exploded. Lu Chen only had a little bit of HP left. If he was hit, his life would be over. Seeing the overwhelming amount of lightning sweeping towards him, Lu Chen gritted his teeth and activated his skill. Infinite Triple Door. Lu Chen quickly activated his movement skill. After Night Shadow flashed, there was a pause. 7 stars chasing the moon and rapid movement were both rapid movement skills. They were not invincible in between. Neither of these movements were suitable for dodging the lightning attracting Jutian. Only the triple door could. One door after another, connecting seamlessly. Lu Chen used the triple door to open up an independent space in the lightning space. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had already passed through the lightning area and was in front of Dongfangji. However, Dongfangji did not panic at all. You can actually pass through my lightning-attracting Jiutian? But do you think you can hit me at close range? Unless I die, the lightning-attracting Jiutian will not stop. I don't believe that you won't stop when you attack. Dongfangji was not lying. Although Lu Chen had passed through the lightning area, the surrounding lightning followed closely behind him. As long as he appeared for a moment, the lightning would definitely hit him. Sorry, your lightning can't hit me. Lu Chen sneered and activated his skill right away. Mountain-splitting strength. Dongfangji might not be able to dodge the mountain-splitting strength. However, how was Lu Chen going to deal with the lightning net attack? There was definitely a reason why Dongfangji was so fearless and did not panic when Lu Chen got close to him. An attack required an attack action. Even if it was only for half a second, he would be hit by the lightning first. It seemed that Lu Chen was already close to him. However, if there was no pause, Dongfangji would of course be safe. However, Lu Chen still made his move. The triple door kept changing Lu Chen's position. As the mountain-splitting strength was changing positions very quickly, Lu Chen's figure appeared in various positions as if it was playing a video clip. There were even illusions. The lightning flashed but did not hit Lu Chen. Dongfangji's eyes widened. This is impossible. Unfortunately, Dongfangji could not dodge in front of the 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment. Lu Chen hit Dongfangji from midair with his staff and he fell straight to the ground. The 9 dragon pillars of heavenly punishment smashed him into the ground like a giant staff. The triple door kept changing Lu Chen's figure. He seemed to have turned into an invincible existence and instantly appeared in front of Dongfangji. Lu Chen was not sure if this guy was affected by the levitation effect. After all, he could float in midair by himself. Perhaps he was using some kind of electric charge. Anyway, Lu Chen did not use the more damaging heaven and earth total annihilation. 8 barren heavens and earth. The lower his HP, the higher Lu Chen's attack power. This 8 barren heavens and earth dealt full damage. One attack, heavenly wrath type, dealt 24 million damage. Dongfangji's 11 million HP was like a roller coaster as it dropped to the bottom. When he was left with 10% HP, Dongfangji activated a passive skill and formed a lightning shield around him. It forcefully maintained 5 million durability and dealt lightning damage to Lu Chen. However, Lu Chen's attack power was too high. The shield disappeared as quickly as it appeared. The 5 million durability disappeared instantly and the remaining 1 million HP was emptied at the same time. Lu Chen suffered 5 million lightning damage. However, his HP seemed to be locked and did not move at all. After the attack, the rumbling lightning in the sky finally stopped. All the electric charges in the air disappeared. Lu Chen also heaved a sigh of relief. It seemed that Dongfangji was not resurrected. Standing next to Dongfangji's corpse, Lu Chen shook his head. This guy is a bit of a cockroach. I was too careless. I came back strong but I almost lost my life. Damn, that's too embarrassing. Fortunately, Xiaomin saved Lu Chen's face. Hearing this, the Dongfang family members' faces turned pale. This guy was already so strong but he had more than one life. Lu Chen bent down and grabbed Dongfangji's collar. He lifted him up and turned around to look at the Dongfang family members. You don't have to care about Azura's life. However, this guy should be of some value to you. I'll ask you one more time. Is his life more important, or is the map in your hands more important? Hearing this, Dongfang Xiong almost collapsed. Of some value? Dongfang Ji was the Dongfang family's life. Chapter 495. Dongfang Ji's importance was far greater than Azura's. He was the foundation of the Dongfang family's position in the third heaven. Dongfang Xiong's face was pale. He never expected that the 5 titled marshals would be completely crushed by this solipsistic. Even Dongfang Ji was killed by a sliver of HP. Faced with Lu Chen's threat, Dongfang Xiong's mind raced. He waited until Lu Chen threw Dongfang Ji's body in front of everyone before he took a deep breath and walked out. Solipsistic, you've just arrived in the third heaven and you're already so arrogant. You stole the Dongfang family's treasure. Aren't you afraid of being attacked by everyone? Lu Chen suddenly felt that it was very funny. He looked up at Dongfang Xiong. Brother, stop joking. Didn't you want to steal my map and Heaven's Punishment Tower's treasure from the beginning? Now that you've lost, you're making a false accusation? Why do you people like to distort the truth so much? That map originally belonged to the Dongfang family. You killed my people and stole my family's treasure in front of so many people. Aren't you afraid of being ridiculed by everyone? Oh. So it's your family's? Yes, everything belongs to your family. Lu Chen shook his head. He realized that he was going to be shameless to the end with Dongfang Xiong. If you say that, then I don't want to talk to you anymore. I, solipsistic, stole the Dongfang family's treasure and killed your people. Is there a problem? Dongfang Xiong almost vomited blood. He knew about solipsistic's deeds. He protected his teammates in front of the Heaven's Punishment Tower without hesitation and left his ID to prevent his teammates from being wanted. When Qin Yun was about to capture Sung, this guy risked his life to save them. All these signs seemed to indicate that he was a righteous person. He originally thought that solipsistic was a rare kind of chivalrous person who saw injustice and wanted to use public opinion to pressure him so that he would not continue to threaten them. Who knew that this guy was not a chivalrous person but a scoundrel? He choked to death with one sentence. Lu Chen scoffed. Ridiculed by everyone? Attacked by everyone? You're also a joker. Do you think I'm afraid of this? I'll give you 3 seconds to decide. If you give me the map, I'll let Dongfang Ji go. This kid has some potential and I don't have much of a grudge against him, so I'll let him go. Otherwise, don't blame me for being rude. Solipsistic. You just came to the 3rd layer of heaven. Do you have a cultivation method that can destroy the body? The second elder of the Dongfang family stood out. Lu Chen smiled. You really hit the nail on the head. I really didn't. Just as the Dongfang family members heaved a sigh of relief, Lu Chen raised his hand and a furry little mouse appeared in his hand. Little furball, I know you don't like to eat dead things, but I'll have to bear with it this time. The little furball's body suddenly expanded to 50 to 60 meters, instantly turning into a giant beast. As soon as the little furball appeared, the crowd from the City of Exiles burst into an uproar. My God, it's that big rat. Someone in the crowd recognized the little furball. That guy who almost ate the frost bone dragon in the trial battlefield. He's the one-armed Grim Reaper? Solipsistic is the Grim Reaper? Oh my God. Solipsistic has been living in the City of Exiles all this time. That big rat killed people in a very cruel way. It directly cut open the stomach and damaged the body. Damn it, I've been having nightmares ever since I saw it at the trial battlefield. Dongfang Xiong's face was clouded as he heard the discussion around him. They had confirmed that Solipsistic was the one-armed Grim Reaper, but they didn't know how the one-armed Grim Reaper fought in the trial battlefield. They felt a chill down their spines when they heard what the people around them said. Solipsistic didn't have a cultivation method that could destroy the body, but he had a battle pet that could. Seeing the little furball walking toward Dongfang Ji, Dongfang Xiong became anxious. Stop. I'll give it to you. Lu Chen smiled. Little furball. He called the little furball back. Dongfangji and Dongfangji. Deal, solipsistic, you wait and see. The Dongfang family will never let this go. Lu Chen didn't seem to hear that. He put the last piece of the treasure map together and put it into his backpack after making sure that there was no problem. He looked up and grinned at Dongfang Xiong. Finally, Xiongfix. Dongfang Xiong was fuming with anger. This guy was so thick-skinned that he could summon a thunder Jiutian with his bare body. Let's go. The Dongfang family members left angrily. Lu Chen looked back. Something was wrong. He still had Azura's body. Didn't they want it? Poor Azura. The Dongfang family members went back to their campsite. They packed up and were about to leave the City of Exiles. At the moment, only the residents of the City of Exiles were left. Lu Chen's gaze fell on an old man. This guy was sleeping in the bed next to Lu Chen's. He was shocked and his body was stiff. He had never seen the one-armed Grim Reaper, nor did he know about Solipsistic. However, he had seen Little Furball, the little pet that slept beside Lu Chen's pillow all day. The Solipsistic, who was wanted by the entire server, slept next to him for a few days. He didn't even dream of it. Lu Chen walked to the old man and smiled at him. Brother, hey brother. The old man finally recovered. Mad God. Lu Chen shook his head. What are you afraid of? I'm not going to eat you. You asked me before, but I didn't tell you the truth. Now do you know how many people are looking for me? Yes, I know. You're wanted by all the races in the third heaven, Lu Chen sighed. Sigh, I wanted to recuperate in the City of Exiles, but it seems that I can't stay here any longer. Lu Chen had a good impression of the old man. When he first accepted the mission of the Men of Sacrifice, the old man stopped him. It was obvious that the old man didn't want him to die. With that, Lu Chen took out a dozen regeneration pills. We're fated to meet. I don't need these pills, so I'll leave them for you. If you can't survive in the City of Exiles, you should leave immediately. The old man didn't expect Solipsistic to take care of him like this. He was touched. Mad God, there are still people looking for me outside. Let's add each other as friends. Lu Chen sent a friend request. If they want to make trouble for you, tell them my name. If they still want to touch you, send me a message. This? If I tell them your name, won't I die even more miserably? You're wanted by all the races in the third heaven. Only 2 small cities want me. Won't I also be wanted by all the races? Lu Chen was speechless. His friend request was rejected, but what he said seemed to be the truth. It's possible? Why don't you secretly show it to the people looking for you? Is that okay? Ahem, it shouldn't be a problem, Lu Chen said with uncertainty. The old man was speechless. Why did he feel that this guy was especially unreliable? However, the old man still accepted the friend request. Mad God, not just anyone can add you as a friend. Even if I'm wanted by all the races, my trip to the Jiutian was worth it. Lu Chen smiled. Brother, we'll meet again if we're fated. In fact, Lu Chen knew that this farewell might be forever. Some people were destined to end their fates here. Heaving a sigh of relief, Lu Chen looked up and scanned the soldiers of the City of Exiles. Everyone was puzzled. This guy seemed to be looking for someone, but they didn't know who he was looking for. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.